Both he and Atticus were in the tavern finishing up their sixth silver soup, or whatever.
Great. Excellent. I think that's where we ended it. That's perfect. Okay. Yeah, that'll do. All right. The door to the tavern swings open amidst the early morning breakfast. A couple of the patrons cast their eyes to the entryway, as does the tavern keeper, and a middle-aged man, roughly in his early 30s, walks in some fairly unique looking gear. He has a few hooks taped to his side, a couple lengths of rope tied over his left arm, and he wears some fairly uh, some fairly light looking but fairly well crafted looking armor. He has a large crossbow on his back and a fairly ornate looking falchion at his side. He wears some black leather boots, some loose cheap leather pants, and he has a belt with a few pouches kept at the side. He has a noticeable amount of stubble at his face, and he has a worn look, a worn, tired gaze about him, his eyes bloodshot, uh, bags firmly formed under his eyes. He has a strong jawline and tends to survey the room very closely. His gaze lingers for longer than would be considered appropriate on each individual patron, including your own table. He seems well equipped and definitely is not a member of a local militia. He doesn't bear any obvious insignias or um, symbols that would mark him as such. He looks around. He looks around the tavern and eventually settles on your table. Debo, what do you have on you, openly visible?
Um,
My stuff, I guess.
Weapon-wise, are any
I
of
mean,
your weapons?
yeah, they're all visible. I don't have anywhere to hide them.
Okay, fair. I just wanted to make sure that like they were visible on you. And Spoon, you just have a stick, or at least what looks like a
Yeah, I
stick.
got two swords and I got a fucking gun. And I don't know. I guess the crossbow would be kind of hidden if it's not like immediately accessible. It's probably
All right.
like on his hip or something. It's smaller.
Okay. Yeah, as long as your weapons are visible, that's really what's important.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
I
all
would assume
visible.
my quarterstaff is very visible, but both
They're.
edges. Hmm?
Oh, sorry. They're all visible yet.
Okay. Uh, the older-looking gentleman slowly and almost ominously makes his way toward your table before he sits down with a very minimal acknowledgement of your presence. He puts his forearm on the table and he leans forward. I'm looking for some assistance. You, he looks at your character specifically, Debo, seem to bear the equipment of a man that sees a lot of work. Tell me something. Would you like to make some money?
My character sips from the edge of his soup bowl, sets it back down, and then looks over and says, "That depends on the work, depends on the pay. I'm
Well,
already employed."
the work is simple. Assist me with capturing a merchant responsible for, well, dodging a few local customs in Aldrich. That's where I intend to take him for trial. And I'll share the reward with you. It's a simple job. Shouldn't require any bloodshed, but he has been known to carry around some personally hired toughs. It's an unfortunate situation, but the custom he has transgressed against is not readily enforced here in Covenant. So you can see the predicament that the Aldrich guards have found themselves in. That's where I come in to take him in. And as an insurance policy, I'm willing to bring along a couple strangers, or at least one of them, who looks like they could be competent.
Atticus lifts his bowl back up, takes another sippy while this dude's fucking blabbering, and considers it for a bit, and then looks at Randall and says, "What do you think?"
Well, I'm not much in the capturing business, more the location business. This seems more up your alley, Atticus, and, well, I'll not begrudge you wanting to make a couple silver.
Yes, well, perhaps allow me to rephrase. What do you think about this in conjunction with our already present problem of Geralt? I could very well handle this, but could you attend to our friend in the meanwhile?
Well, attendance is likely more up the alley of the apothecary. I'm not exactly a physician myself. I imagine he isn't going anywhere.
He considers it and then just nods. Yes, you're probably right. Very well. Where is this merchant?
Hmm. He's in a personal villa located in one of the more wealthy sections of Covenant. And I suspect that he's likely fortified himself fairly comfortably within. And I'd imagine that he at the very least expects some manner of retribution from the Uldric authorities, which is where you come in. You see, you need to assist me just in case things get a bit bloodier. But I'm a man of my word. If you assist me, I'll give you your due.
Yep, Atticus will nod and say, "Yeah, I'll assist you. I just require a visit to the blacksmith before anything else, and that's pretty much it."
Gives you a nod. I will have a hired carriage to take us from this place to Uldric to collect our payment. I can't imagine this will be too difficult, but I would recommend coming prepared and ensure that whatever you have is ready to fire at a moment's notice. Bear in mind that this is considered legal action within Acretia. I have the documentation to prove and my own license to prove that, well, I am acting lawfully, of course, but you know how these things tend to go, since guardsmen, citizens, and anybody else with heroic intentions can get involved before they know the situation. So, know the risk, but the coin should be worth it. He is responsible for a fairly substantial amount of fraud, as it were.
Nods and understanding. Very well. I will get prepared then.
Well, I won't be here all day, so do what you have to.
Yep, and he's already pushing up to head on out.
All right.
I will be back shortly.
Going to the
Did I
smith, I
assume-
assume.
Nods.
He looks over at your character, Spoon. Friend of his, or did you meet here at this tavern?
A set of extenuating circumstances has led to our traveling as companions.
Right. I can tell.
The fuck is the item sheet called again? I gotta add my gun to my sheet. I forgot.
It should be. It should be under your character sheet. Add the gun to equipment.
I mean, like, where's the fucking document on all the items? What's it called? Just items.
Oh, weapons, armor, and something else. But it should have weapons and armor at first. I think it's like weapons, armor, and mounts.
Weapons, armor, fighting styles, and mounts. Fighting styles, dude.
Sorry. Continue what your character was saying, Spoon.
Oh, I just mentioned the extenuating circumstances, but if
Yeah,
he starts
right, gotcha.
like
Yeah,
pressing, I could tell him like,
yeah.
not exactly a fighter, but if you need a drawing of someone so Atticus knows who not to shoot, or someone tracks down, I'm one of the best in the business.
Well, that seems to be where we conflict, friends. See, because I'm also very good at finding. course, I'm going to imagine you figured that out given my profession.
Yes, well, I
Right.
imagine the ones who are not particularly good at finding men in your profession tend to go hungry or switch.
Well, going hungry is the worst of it, but hoarding what you need to get the job done and keeping it in good order. That's something else. Devo, by this time, you've basically left and you're going.
Oh yeah,
to
he's walking to
Yeah,
the blacksmith already. Yeah,
Yep, just making sure.
and I'll be right back.
Gotcha. Well, if you don't mind me asking, what brought you and your friend all the way here to Kovanal? Businessmen? Well, maybe you. You exactly look like any merchant I've seen, but looks can be deceiving.
No, I mostly ply my trades with town to town, asking the local guard commanders whether or not they have any toughs that have elated their capture. They need a description. I sketch their portraits so everyone knows who it is and what they look like. Typically for the lesser well known of your type to get a leg ahead. But recently I finished a job for. Brian, what was. What was his name? Dick. The Lord of Lakeshore?
Dunkirk?
Dunkirk, yeah. Dunkirk. I found his son in a foreign country.
He, the man kind of reaches into his pocket and he pulls out a tiny slip of parchment. He kind of furls it. He runs his index finger down the list until he stops and points several times. Likely at something on the list. Dunkirk. Oh, Lakeshore, huh? Haven't been there in months. It was a quiet city, but busy. Lots of money to be made for those who knew how to look. And believe me, you knew where to look. There was money to be made. But
I don't know how long you've been in Lakeshore or when was the last time, but it is, well, apparently it's going through some religious upheaval of a very massive bent.
Yeah, I've tried my best to stay out of that deal. Politics has to pay much more, especially when people's beliefs get dragged in. It gets messier, more expensive. But I can imagine it had something to do with those white-robed gentlemen.
Yes, apparently the leader was a sorcerer.
Don't know much about their leader, but what I do know is that they're new. They got a lot of folks nervous. And by folks, you understand I mean the sorts that already run the churches that most people subscribe to, if you catch my...
I do.
Well, I wasn't paid to look in it too much further, but I can imagine there's going to be some sort of catastrophe involving gods and whatnot in the near future. I'd recommend you stash yourself away a healthy nest egg and wait it out.
That is likely a good idea, but to get that much money, I'd need to ply my trade a little bit more, and right now I expect I'm going to have to pay the apothecary quite a sum.
Well, I mean, men that are on hard times, we tend to fall into two categories. We beg on the streets and we die, or we sell what we have left. Do this. Of course, even crazier men will go further north, where, well, some of the most wanted lawbreakers can be found. Of course, even I wouldn't go there by myself. It tends to get fairly dangerous, and, well, I tend to do my work by myself until it gets a bit more complicated. That's why I have capable-looking gentlemen like your friend join me. And, well, if he has any useful companions like yourself, we'll work together and figure out what we can do. Understand, like you, I'd imagine, we're just trying to get as much money as we can to live on the level of those nobles. Maybe without the titles and responsibilities you. Why are you here? Outside of your predicament. Surely you have other reasons for being, Krisha.
Ah, me and Atticus are hunting down a man named Gerard Delevain.
Never heard of him.
Well, if we're going by his reputation, he is an enormous asshole.
Noble?
My character shrugs. I don't hear Atticus talk about him much. Likely limited contact, but he says that this war hero friend of his, Franco Jarnett, met him and also considered him a tremendous arsehole.
Where's this man from? Where'd he get his skills? Who does he know? Is he wealthy?
I wouldn't know. Atticus talks about him very little other than what use or knowledge he can pry from him.
Interesting.
All second-hand, you understand?
Yes, I do. We might be able to renegotiate our current contract if you are particularly invested in finding or apprehending this gentleman. And I do enjoy a challenge so long as it pays. Or at the very least leads me somewhere more interesting.
Ah.
I'll
I see I've issued some confusion. We're not here to apprehend this man. We're here to ask him a battery of questions and take something that he has put under his charge under our custody.
What's your name, friend?
Randall Morales.
Right, Randall. Look, you don't look young, so this is something that someone should have taught you at some point in your life, but in case they didn't, I will tell you. In my experience, follow a man for a long period of time, take something back, even if you start out innocently enough, make it violent, God's forbid, kill anyone. The longer it takes to catch this person, the more that resentment builds, and it becomes less about what you wanted them for and more about the principle of getting what you want. And that becomes worse the longer you spend on the trail. Take it from someone who knows. I've been there. You don't seem as determined as your friend is, at least if what you told me is true. But I have a very difficult time believing that this is going to end non-violently. That's rarely the case, especially if you're trying to take something from this man that, well, belongs to him or is somehow his responsibility. Now, I'm
Well,
sure
with
you
all due honesty, that will be mostly Atticus's problem. He wishes to fight with a prodigious sword fighter, as he constantly tells me. That is his problem.
The older gentleman kind of laughs. He takes a small paring knife out of his pocket and he begins to clean the dirt from his fingernails. Well, I've apprehended many a skilled combatant in my day, and well, can tell you my experience that fighting them in their own arena was not exactly wise.
And you are a smarter man than most.
Yeah, well, I'm also a living man. Think about it. I'll renegotiate with your friend the terms of our current deal, although we haven't really set any parchment. This has my interest. At the very least, maybe you'll take me somewhere where I can find additional work. Regardless, I'm going to Aldrich either way.
That is quite a coincidence. That's relatively the direction we are heading.
Oh, well. Maybe fate has guided us in this direction, but what do I know? Not much of a believer in destiny and all that. It just sounds particularly nice.
Yes,
My name's
well,
Morgan.
a pleasure to meet you, Morgan.
Pleasure to meet you as well, Randall, and your friend, who seems pretty straightforward, to the point, doesn't really mince words. I can respect it. Fortunately, well, how long has he been chasing this man?
Let's see. To these, I assume he would have been on his trail, more or less, for about the length of the boat ride to Lakeshore from Constantia, I believe he said.
It's a hell of a boat ride.
Yes, likely several months, but much less not tracking as much as waiting for, well, the seas to part way to land. I'm not quite sure how long he's been after that, but I can't imagine it's been more than a few days he's been ashore.
Well, after a boat ride of that length, and all this time, this what'd you say his name was, Gerard fella, managed to give him the slip. I would be surprised if this didn't end poorly. And well, I don't know your friend too well, but if he seems to be the kind of fellow that he plays himself off to be, I've known many good men like him. They don't ask many questions. They're good in a pinch, but well, don't tend to ask the right questions to the right people. Understand?
I understand.
Well, regardless, happy to have him and, well, yourself, should you wish to accompany us. You'll have to split your portion of the reward if he shares it with you. You'll understand. But, all right. As for me, I'm going to get something to drink. It's been a journey.
Well, don't let me keep you. I have a trip to the apothecary to take, and some names to ask around. See if anyone actually needs a picture in this forsaken city.
Oh, don't worry, you won't keep me. I can imagine I'll be speaking with you fairly soon. Friend will come back. We'll wrap up this business with this merchant who's gotten a bit too big for his robes.
Good day, Morgan.
Randall? He gives you a nod and goes to the bar to make an order. Evo,
You're up.
as you leave the tavern, shortly after the encounter with Morgan, who now seems to be engaging Randall, you get a good long smell, fresh Covenal sea air. The daily life in the small city is about to pick up, and you can already see merchants beginning to open up their shop, to get their wares in order for the day. However, before all of them, you can hear sounds of metal clanking about in the direction of Smith, as he seems to be the one who gets up earliest.
Yep, I already found the smith earlier, so I'm gonna just walk back there.
All right.
Just want me to do like a recall or whatever, but
No, you can remember. It was fairly recent. All right. You end up finding your way back to the smith as he is essentially laying out a few iron slabs, getting ready for
my
the day.
my character just sort of like peruses for two things in particularly, um, like just a standardized general baby bitch medium sized spear and bullets.
Bullets? Okay.
Obviously, like the bullets are probably rare.
All right. So you want just a spear.
Yeah, just like the spear from the fucking list, like one's just labeled spear.
All right. The smith takes note of you showing up so early.
Oh, also throwing knives,
Okay.
if possible.
He gives you a look up and down and goes, bit early. Oh,
Nods.
one of those types, huh? Soldier.
Yep, he nods.
Hmm. Okay. What can I do you for then?
I require a spear and several throwing knives, and he placed the gun down. If you are capable of making bullets,
Gives you a look and then quirks a brow. He
Small metal orbs. You just like hold up a little circular hand thing.
he squints at you. I know what they are. I just don't get the request very often. Can I see that?
I understand. Yes. He hands it over.
Yeah, he gives he looks at your musket and he gives it kind of a look. He looks at the barrel and then you can see him trailing off, kind of whispering under his breath. Couple stray numbers catching your ears. He returns your musket to you and goes, "All right, about a silver a shot. How many do you want?"
Thinks about it. 15.
All right.
That will also take 5 throwing knives and a spear, as I said.
He all right. He begins to kind of make some mental calculations. And you said how many throwing knives did you want, Debo?
5.
5, so 5. 11, so 32. Okay. Right. That'll be about 32 silver.
Yeah, Atticus pulls out his fucking bag and counts the silver out and hands it over to him.
Yep. He thankfully he does happen to have just a short spear lying around. It's a fairly commonly requested item for the militia. He hands it to you. It's just a normal spear. So write down whatever would be attached to it statistically on the sheet. He then says, "Come back a bit later, and I should have your knives, and I should have your shot ready."
He nods.
Give me. Thinks about it. Noon. By noon, I should have what you need.
Yep, he nods again and says, "Thank you for your assistance. I will return at noon." And
Yep,
then he
do you pay him?
departs. Yeah, he pays him.
Yep, you pay him, and he takes your money, squares it away, and yeah, essentially continues about his day, setting everything up, getting the forge lit, ready.
And then Atticus will head on out to Alamau General Adventuring Store. This motherfucker needs some rope.
All right. You manage to find the general merchant that has just recently opened. Nazir's Niceties.
Oh yeah.
You walk into the shop and are immediately greeted by a strange, dark-featured, olive-skinned man with what appears to be some sort of pillow sheet wrapped around his head. There's a feather sticking out of it and a fairly small but ornate-looking jewel embedded at the center. He greets you with a large smile, and he has a golden tooth and a particularly greasy demeanor. "Ah, my friend, welcome to Nazir's Niceties. How may I help you?" You can see that he
Today's gonna be a good day.
you can see that he has fairly interesting looking shoes as he steps out from behind the counter, his arms outstretched. They're pointed and curled upward, and he has a bizarrely curved sword at his side that a design of which you haven't really seen before.
Hmm.
He approaches with his arms kind of outstretched, and he continues walking closer to you, as if he. Yep.
Oh yeah, Atticus would stop and appraise him, look at his weird shoes, think to himself like, "Wow, that's fucking weird," but just says like, "I require a
Wait.
few items for the road."
One thing I will ask you, and this could change the encounter before we get started. Where was your character born in the Imperium, Pivo?
Lene.
Lene?
It's like a shitty fishing village.
Okay, that's far enough from the south. You might know where the Spirit is. Have a suspicion. Okay. He approaches you and basically attempts to give you a hug.
Atticus just sort of stands there rigid and then just like sort of like ease them off after, like, oh, bro.
He basically goes,
Unclean.
my friend,
Unclean.
I appreciate your business. He lets you go and then goes, my Imperial friend, Imperial, I know your sort. I've seen you many times before. Yes, very, very excellent warriors, good fighters. What can I do for you?
I require a few items for the road.
Yes, yes. In fact, just for you, we have a sale, an excellent sale. Rope. What kind of rope?
Strongest you have.
Strongest, only the strongest for the strong Imperials. I understand. And how much would you like?
Thinks about it. 10 feet ought to do.
10 feet of the strongest rope. Oh, yes. Ah, wow, that should be about, he does the calculations, about 15 silver.
15 silver for rope.
That is correct. It is the best rope. Not even a wild beast could escape it. Look at it. He holds up the rope and he kind of pinches it at the center to show its durability. Go, go, look. It's excellent. You couldn't cut through this with a blade. It's so thick.
Oh.
He was like, all right, time to F out. Time to F out.
No, at that point, it's like, time to test that shit, draws Katana.
Are you serious?
I mean,
You can if you want.
yeah, Atticus will try and, like, draw his fucking short sword and cut the rope.
Okay, you draw your weapon in front of the merchant, and his eyes kind of light up for a moment as though he's surprised. He instinctively attempts to get out of the way.
Oh, yeah, he's obviously not trying to attack the merchant. He's gonna just try and, like, catch the rope and cut through it.
Okay, so you're basically just making an attack on the now falling rope that this man would have dropped.
Or catching it first and then trying to do it, yeah.
Okay,
He's trying to put it to the test of, oh yeah, brother, you're trying to fucking tell me this will fucking, oh yeah.
You know what's funny, Spoon, is I bet if this was just like a regular merchant with a fairly even and business-like tone, Debo wouldn't be suspicious at all.
No, I'd still be suspicious, bro. 15 silver for a fucking rope? Are you kidding me?
Well,
It is made of the finest corded hemp in the land, you filthy snot.
does your character have any appraisal skill?
No, yeah, he has none of that shit. But based on like the cost of bullets, like, bro, I got 15 bullets for a rope. What the fuck you talking about? He's basically just trying to like take the rope and cut it, and if he cuts it, then he'll be like, okay, I'll take it.
Okay, yeah. You bring your you catch the rope as he basically lets it go, and you I guess you're just trying to like cinch it along the blade of your sword and kind of pull up on the sword to cut it, or are you trying to like actually swing down on it?
Like actually trying to do that to cut it.
Sure. Yeah. You basically
just durability test the rope.
Yeah, you bend the rope over your sword and you basically begin to like pull and tug on it to kind of cut it like you would with a knife, and well, it seems to hold.
Oh shit! Okay. Well, yeah. He stow his sword back and
That's some good rope.
Be like, damn, that's some good rope. Be like, all right, I'll take 15 feet of it.
He gives you a bit of a look and then goes, yes, well, should you have damaged it, you would have had to purchase it anyway.
Of course.
Yes, but being an honorable warrior Imperial, I knew you wouldn't test my product and then not buy it. That's not what I would expect of your wonderful people. Not at all.
No,
he says, right, well, 15 silver for the rope. What else can I help you with, friend?
Wait, do I already have a pack? I think I have a pack. Do I? I don't think so. I don't remember. I think Spoon had some shit listed, but I think that was just for him.
The rule I'm going with is if you don't have it written down, you don't have it.
Well, all right. So he'd take the rope and be like, very well, I also require a bag to hold this within, and the materials required for map making.
Ah, budding cartographer and a traveler. Nay, not a traveler. He looks you up and down really quick. Some sort of mercenary, some sort of guardsman, militia, soldier. Yes. No, only the best. and largest to carry the most. Yes, I remember I was on the trail myself once long ago, and, well, many a prize did my eyes take in that I could not justly appropriate. The
Of
pack was too
course.
small, or I did not have the right pack. But for you, I will make sure that when you are in my place, you can take that thing you want. Oh, I've got something for you. He scurries about to his back room, and you can hear clanging of several metal objects, and the what sounds like somewhat irritated or annoyed cussing in a foreign language. Eventually, he comes out with a rather large pack, clearly made for long journeys. Heavy and made of sturdy material with multiple pockets. Uh, Loose straps to hang pans, all sorts of little unique kind of keep away pockets. He goes over the entire design with you and shows you each individual zone, and he details what they are typically used for. You see, this is for extra rations. Why would you only take what you need when you can live in beautiful excess if you can afford it? Yes, and a man like yourself, I'll bet that you can't keep the gold away. Yes, yes, you are here after all. Only those with true wealth and taste would shop at Nazir's niceties, if I do say so myself. He 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 takes a couple of the pockets, and he turns them inside out, showing additional smaller pockets. And for those that are particularly industrious, or those that perhaps are familiar with our dwarven friends that trade in gems and other valuable luxuries, will find that there are smaller pockets here that those can be stored in. Yes, of course. You look like the kind of man who's very worldly, with many friends, many races. He then gets to his favorite part, and you can see one of his golden teeth kind of flickering in the torchlight. This particular wonderful piece of craftsmanship will be 40 silver.
How much did he say?
40 silver. He then looks at you and says, "Now, I know, it seems excessive and quite a bit for a mere pack, but I have it on good authority that this was forged, or rather, tailored from the finest cured deep oxen leather procured by the dwarves themselves, traded from the mountains, the Iron Mountains.
Is that right?
Surely you wouldn't pass up on such an offer."
Very well. I will take it.
All right. Cross off 40 silver, Debo.
He'll actually. I'll just pay it then. 15 plus 40.
Your tab is currently, if I'm not completely baked, you are looking at 52 silver total at the moment.
Right. Okay. And the map stuff.
Cartography. He then, once he sets the pack and the rope, which he, without asking, attaches to a kind of a long iron ring at the side of the pack, ties it off there. He moves you along to a more bookish-looking section. It carries several tomes of varying trades and areas of expertise. However, they are quite pricey. He takes you to a section that contains a lot more parchment paper. For the aspiring cartographer, for the adventurer, for a man looking to set out, make the unconquered lands his own. I have what you need, friend. Now, what is it exactly you are looking for? Quality parchment? We have it.
Yes,
Ink.
I'll require several rolls of parchment and some ink.
But why settle for just simple? Why not try the best? The water resistant.
Water resistant.
Yes. In fact, you could write an entire page, and should the rain seek to disrupt your beautiful work of art, it will rebuke it swiftly. He kind of leans in, his eyes sparkling a bit, that greasy grin growing ever wider.
Atticus just thinking this motherfucker, but then he just nods and says, "Very well. The water-resistant ink will do."
That, my friend, 20 silver. But why stop there? Need something of quality to store your ink. You see, my people have many humble inventions under the belt. One of them is a unique quill that stores the ink within and can dispense it from within whilst keeping it, well,
And how much would you want for this prestigious invention?
and of course, that would only be a very modest 25 silver.
No, I think that a normal quill will suffice for my needs.
Very well, but it is much more time-consuming to write your maps and your scriptures, having to dip every single time. The effort, the wasted brilliance. What if your muse were to escape you? Then what?
You know, I think about it, and I'm considering just getting it for Spoon, because it'd be fucking OP for Spoon, dude.
But I'm not a cartographer.
No, but like just the ink pen.
Grabs you by the throat, you.
The ink pen that fucking has water resistant, Spoon, like.
I mean, my character
draw
just
and
uses
fucking
charcoal so far.
Yeah, you're right. Nah, he'll shake his head and be like, "Nah, we don't need that."
So it's unfortunate to hear, my imperial friend, but
Fear not, you will still get my coin. I require rations.
oh, come now. The only thing in my profession more valuable than coin is that my customer walks away satisfied with good products that have my name attached.
Of course.
And only my name attached.
Is there anything else I can assist you with? Ah, the parchment, of course. One cannot draw up maps without parchment. Now we have several degrees of parchment available. We have that was taken from your modest and reliable pots. Good, cheap, reliable, but there's no. It has a certain lack of sophistication. The nobles now they tend to prefer the reddish tint of the cedar. Yes, it is a very specially made parchment. It will give your documents a certain level of authentication that cannot be disputed by those that have a true culture and a sophisticated palate, and for those that are particularly kingly, those that walk close to royal courts. Yes, a very select, limited quantity. You ready? This parchment was made elvish oak. Yes, that's right. The trees close to the elven kingdom. This parchment is especially durable, and more importantly, they say that those that use it have a certain level of uh, acumen and brilliance suddenly thrust upon them, almost as if the wisdom of the elder people were with them. And more importantly, withstands the test of time far better than the other two, which are, of course, excellent in their own right, but for an entirely different class of wonderful folk. Gives you another grin and rubs his hands together. A couple of his rather gaudy rings sparkling almost in unison with his glittering tooth.
I'm no noble and I'm no elf. I'll take the cheapest.
He does his best to hide a look of disappointment, but ends up nodding. Well, very well. How much do you wish?
What are they, Brian? Are they just like rolled up pieces and shit?
So you can buy them singularly for a couple silver each, or you can buy bulk, which would likely be cheaper.
He'd probably get whatever the cheapest bulk is, I guess.
Ah, very well.
Because Spoon will probably need paper eventually.
Hmm. The Imperial Pine. Well, 10 sheets. Good. 20 silver. There you are.
Yep.
All right. Debo. What is your current tab?
92.
92. Okay. He then he gives you a smile and a nod and goes, I can feel us growing closer in our business, my friend. I'm feeling particularly generous. The next thing you purchase, I will give you a reasonable discount. Is there anything else you wish for? Look around.
Sure, yeah. He'll just take like a perusal around.
Okay.
Just like see
Debo,
what he sees.
give me an investigation check. Assuming you're just taking your time.
But yeah, he's taking his time. He's got till noon anyway, and that guy's didn't say that it was like particularly urgent, that he had some time to prepare.
I mean, everybody's still kind of getting ready for the day. This man just appears to be especially on the ball. Right. Okay.
I think that's 15.
All right. Yeah. You see something fairly unique displayed on one of the few weapon racks the man has around. A bizarre-looking blade with a slight curvature. It has a circular. It has a circular guard near the pommel, and has some sort of a strange wrapping just above the golden, just above the golden pommel. It is designed like no sword here that you have ever seen, and once he realizes it has caught your eye, he goes, "Ah, it's a strange weapon, isn't it? Even by my people's standards."
Bait.
Did you just fucking bait him with the katana?
He continues, "Yes, I went through no small journey to get this particular piece brought in from some distance away. They say that the culture of the people there rival even that of the Imperials in terms of their warrior inclinations. And they also say they are a highly honor-bound people, steeped in their traditions, much like the Imperials, although we've heard they are a bit more of a modest people in terms of their size. This weapon, surprisingly sharp. We had not expected it to, for its size, be as effective as it was. It is comparable, of course, to Imperial and Accretion blades, but a bit lighter.
Well, then I suppose I will use the discount that you so generously provided on this.
Ah, see, I knew there was a reason you were not going for the Elvish Oak parchment. I knew. See, I knew you were a man of not only great culture, but of great taste. Pause game so I can get a price going here.
Fucking bait me. Bait me so hard, fuck you!
Let's see. Let's take that like 1 gold long sword from fucking Sheen, and then put exotic, and then multiply that by Greece.
All right. All right, Debo. Your eye has fallen upon a pristine condition, scarce masterwork kitaner.
Damn.
It will cost you 8 gold crowns. And with his discount, he'll bring it down to 7. He he extends a hand and he puts it on your shoulder, and then he continues to frame the weapon. They say that this particular weapon is used by the great warlord, a legendary undefeated sword master, one of 2 from that land. supposedly, according to their people, when he passed, his sons took up his blades, and each of them, with differing ideas as to how the people should be ruled, well, traveled the world. And one of those blades has found itself here. Legend further has it that the man who wields both shall be as undefeated as the progenitor of these swords. But legends and whatnot, every culture has them, of course. Fucking Devo. I can't control the net!
I'm so baited. I can't.
All right, well, Devo, because I put you in a literal, like, just dilemma that'll change your IRL life. I'm gonna go get coffee. Be right back.
And before I just like walk into the store, I was like, "Oh, hello, Atticus. What did you find a magic sword?"
Brother, I tell ya, if we didn't have work lined up, Spoon, this would be a way harder decision than it's gonna be. That's all I'm saying.
Wait, what work?
The work from this fucking bounty hunter guy.
I mean, isn't he planning on joining us?
I mean, he said that
Oh, right,
we can
the
split
merchant.
the money, yeah, for the merchant, and then after that, Atticus is gonna be like, "Oh, you want to come with us?"
I mean, he's splitting it with
yeah.
you. He's not taking me.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I'll share it. I got you fucking
Seems kinda
waterproof
odd,
ink,
but whatever.
goddammit. But my character's concern is that still, like, fucking Geralt is possessed or some shit. And yeah, like that stone and like all this other shit is. We just keep getting side quests, man.
Nah, I'm sure Gerald's fine. Probably just hay fever. Very violent hay fever.
Yeah, very violent and spontaneous hay fever, Lamau.
Yeah. Look, man, I'm just trying to play the part of fucking magician. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah, Atticus just has one first aid, but he's just like thinking about it, like, huh, what the fuck? He wasn't sick the other day. Why is he suddenly sick? What the fuck? It's all just sus. Sus.
At this point, I just look at my 3 first aid and just like, all right, what does my character know? Well, he probably knows that fingers and toes don't grow back. That's about it.
Back.
Welcome back.
All right. The merchant looks
Atticus thinks about it for a minute. He looks thoughtful. He reaches up, pinches the bridge of his nose. Fine.
You'll take it.
I'll take it.
He almost seems surprised. You had
He hands him the fucking, how much? 7? 7, right?
7 gold crowns with the discount.
Oh, my money! Yeah.
Okay.
The merchant is just like, wait, I can't keep up the grease
Yeah.
persona. Like, what? You're actually taking this fucking thing?
He gives you a bit of a look and gleefully accepts the 7 gold crowns, and he looks at you and goes, and as I had stated, my friend, you are indeed the paragon of culture. I will have this brought with its sheath and its adornments, and I will ensure that it has an extra bit of polish to send you off with. Please just wait right here.
Yep.
Please God, this guy is rich. I don't want to piss him off.
He ends up taking the display that the sword hangs on down, and he takes the sword into the back room, presumably to grab the rest of it, and disappears for a bit. Devo, I'm going to get you the stats on your new weapon.
All right. I subtracted all my money I have. Looks at watch. 30 silver.
Yep. Okay. All right. I'm just trying to find the modifier. Okay. Right. I forgot that with the crafting, the modifiers disappeared. Okay, Debo. Write down the stats for a katana, and I will tell you what to change.
I will be right back, grabbing a drink.
Okay.
All right, I got them written.
Okay. Your katana deals an additional point of slashing and piercing. The initiative bonus is increased by 1. And the critical damage that you deal to unarmored and lightly armored opponents is increased by 1 as well. That is all. For them.
Damn, that's still fucking. That's good though. Damn, what
Yep.
the fuck?
Yep. You have a
All right.
Yep, you have a masterwork katana, which is obviously going to be better than a regular longsword given how it was crafted, but more importantly, the reason why you take a katana over that is anything that gives you empty offhand benefits applies to this weapon, which means that like you don't have to have the empty offhand even though you're using it two-handed.
That's fat because I have all those perks.
Yeah, so it's a dueling weapon that is two-handed, so it can benefit from all that other shit.
I'm back.
That's
So,
pretty sick, actually. What the fuck?
yep. However, it's still a medium weapon, even though you have to use it two-handed to use it properly. Otherwise, yeah, that's what you get. That is what you know about this weapon if this man told the truth.
Well, all right.
All right. He comes back with the weapon with its relatively well-designed sheath that has some decoration, but nothing overly excessive. It has a strange length of cord hanging from the hilt itself, and upon closer inspection, you realize that the very pommel itself, the end of it, is shaped in the head of a snake of some kind. So it's a fairly intricate design, and the snake itself, the closer you look at the pommel, has 2 very, very small, expertly laid in what appear to be rubies.
Damn.
So it's obviously a weapon of considerable value.
This is a fucking high value man sword, is what this is.
Yep. Given some thought, as visible as this would likely be, this is very clearly something worth something to anybody that would look at you. So keep that in mind.
All right. Well, he'd
Yep.
thank his new best friend in the whole world.
Nazir.
Yep, Nazir. He'd thank him for his business in his store. And
Yeah, no, Nazir attempts to grab both of your hands and shake them and oh, no, the pleasure has been all mine, my friend. You are one of my most beloved and respected customers. Please do return at any point in time. You are always a friend here at Nazir's Niceties.
of course, I may return yet on my way back. Have a good day, Nazir. And then he'd leave.
May your gods be with you.
Or your coin is not.
Hey, man, that guy, if I ever come back this way, he's going to be my best friend. As long as I have money, Lamount. But, yeah. And, I guess Atticus will just do whatever until he goes back to the blacksmith. But he'll probably try to... I don't know. Can Randall even use a longsword, Lamau? Like, why am I carrying
anybody, so long as he can lift it properly, he can use it. It's just, can he use it in a skilled way?
No.
Okay, well, I'll probably try and sell the longsword to the blacksmith on the way back. If I can't do that, then Randall will get it, I guess.
Ebo, how much money do you have left?
30 silver.
I like that.
I don't.
The GM will find a way.
Fucking faggot.
Uh,
You knew what you were doing. As soon as you fucking started describing that shit, I was already gone, man.
Satan had taken my ass. I'm done.
I was already gone. You're like, oh, you're telling me it's not only is it a katana, but it's a super strong and cool katana. Take my fucking money, you dumb fuck.
Weeb legend behind it. Oh, helicopter nut. You're so stupid. I hate you.
All right,
can't
yeah, so
wait
that's
for-
what the character's doing. Do
right.
spoon or whatever. I'll be back.
I can't wait for fucking Debo's character to approach mine. Is like, Randall, you'll not believe it. What? This sword. There's a legend. If I find the other sword that this thing belongs as a set to, I'll be invincible.
God, I have the power. Okay. All right, your character had to go to the apothecary, right? Spoon.
Had to, no, but he was likely going to pay to
Sorry.
visit.
You were going, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. The apothecary has since flipped his sign over, and it says in plain common, accepting customers, which means you can walk in should you choose.
All right, I will describe the door handle to me if you would.
Yeah, sure. It's just a basic kind of iron handle. You pull it and it'll open, and it likely locks from within. It has a fairly simple lock, also made of iron, not particularly special, which means it is likely, when it comes time, it is barred from within at nighttime.
All right, I'll reach down, grab the handle, and gently allow it to creak open.
Yeah, you can open the door normally, and you'll see sitting amidst a desk filled with varying types of ingredients, powdered, plant-like and otherwise, and with a few tinctures nearby. The apothecary seems to be following a recipe of sorts from a book propped up by a metal stand. He looks over at you as the bell above the door signals your entry. Ding, ding. Ah, good morning. How can I help you?
Good day. I'm here to pay a visit to a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm. I only have one patient at the moment, so I can assume it is that knightly fellow.
You would be correct.
You are who?
I am Randall Moros,
I see, and your relation to this man is what exactly?
a traveling companion. I set about. Let me look up his name.
Sure.
I have like 2 or 3 character sheets, one of which actually has all the info because fuck me if I'm writing down important shit in fucking.
It's up to
Excel
you guys.
spreadsheet.
Yep, fair enough.
I think his name was James. Jonathan. I was the one who set that humble farmer Jonathan upon the path with him in tow in the cart.
Ah, yes, the farmer brought him in and said that someone would come by and check on his well-being. And I suppose you fit his description. Well, all right. Not going to finish this recipe anytime soon. He puts down a set of wooden tweezers, and he gets up off of his chair and he motions for you to follow. The shop is fairly modest, all things considered. He's not. He's a bit of an older fellow, long, stringy gray hair, a bald patch on top, with a bit of stubble, and kind of semi-worn blue eyes, now grayish, likely due to age. And he has a few missing yellowish teeth and a particularly pointed nose. He dresses well, as is befitting of his profession. He has an apron kind of over his body for work, with splotches of blood here and there on it, and other sorts of filth. He tends to wear a set of bulky mitts fitted to his hands, likely to handle whatever it is he has to get involved in. He takes you to a back room through a doorless doorway, and he leads you to the bed where Geralt is currently laid back. He's quite pale, and you can see that several nasty-looking buboes have formed on his face, down through his neck and shoulder, and a couple areas of his skin, but one in particular are heavily swollen, reddish from infection, with a bit of a yellowish twinge. The apothecary gives you a look and motions toward Geralt. He's here, and as I said, he is quite ill.
I see. I assume this is going to be of somewhat great expense.
Well, the apothecary kind of asks you to sit down.
My character complies.
Yep, you sit down, and he wait here if you mind. He disappears for less than maybe 20 seconds into a small cubby-like room filled with jars and bags and other sorts of containers. He pulls out a jar, like a small glass jar with nothing in it, save for one little detail of note. Something you would have missed had you not been looking for it. Fairly tiny and reddish. He drops the jar on a nearby the fuck do you call it? By your bedside. I'm shooting fucking brain right now. It's like a small little dresser drawer.
Ah.
By one of the nearby dressers, and he sits next to you in a free chair. I am afraid your companion has unfortunately fallen foul of a blood mite sickness.
A blood mite?
Yes. Blood mite is typically associated with vermin and deer and wolves and other wild animals of the sort, and they tend to be found commonly in areas where those are found. Especially hunters, especially fall prey to this rarely, but often enough that it's a bit of an issue. But you go. They carry a sickness with them that, is taken or transferred or formed somehow with the animal itself, and unfortunately, it takes particularly well to humans. The Imperium and Cretia had quite an unfortunate way some years ago that killed many thousands of people. This is not a sickness to be taken lightly. I apologize for your friend. Impressed that he is showing lesser signs of infection, which indicates he's quite healthy and strong. However, do not know if he will live through this without more professional assistance. You can tell that he says that kind of begrudgingly, as if he dislikes the idea of talking down about his skills. Understand that in order to help your friend, at least give you proper information so that you can assist me with helping your friend, I need to know how and where this thing became attached to him. Is he a hunter of sorts? Does he hunt for his own food?
I would assume that from time to time he's done so. He said he's been questing from Farcraft for the past 2 years. Recently, he had been helping a couple of farmers in the next town over hunt wolves. I saw him hauling a couple of the bodies over away.
The apothecary's eyes light up briefly. Ah, that makes sense. Blood mites do attach themselves to wolves and other animals when they can. Understand they are, by themselves, fairly innocent. Bloodsuckers. Once found, they can be burned off or shrunken by salt, taken out by hand. It's when they tend to favor more filthy creatures such as rats, then it becomes an issue. Appears that whatever your companion here caught, the mite that I have extracted from him at some point must have been attached to something far more sinister than a wolf. At least, that is my theory. The cure, well, simply time. Time and care. I can do my absolute best to ensure the infection is slowed, and I can remove some of the more egregious buboes and staunch the infection with some strong concoctions, but there is no cure. We simply must hope that he withstand the illness as it goes through its duration, as it were. This is not something I tell you lightly. Encountered many a man and woman who lost their children, wives or husbands, to this affliction. It is never easy. However, it seemed as though your friend may be of the body, mind, spirit, and means to pull through on his own. However, he cannot say how long it will be. There have been times when men and women have suffered this illness for months before recovering, passing.
That is a fairly egregious amount of time. He's a horse to care for, and arranging for his transportation back to Fokrath would be something that we are not quite prepared to do. We are traveling in search of someone, you see.
And I can imagine it wouldn't be cheap.
Yes.
I understand attempting to sail a very ill man who possesses an illness that most folks are terrified to have in their presence over the ocean, and to have this man cared for, well, I don't think I need to elaborate further. You seem to be an intelligent man. You can figure that bit out yourself. Fortunately, at the stage your companion is in, I can say that what he has caught is not contagious, as it were. It should not be spreading. Me, that says he is far past the beginning stages. Well, middle stage of infection, now we just simply wait. The end result is either he recovers or passes. I've had some patients recover in as quick as a few weeks, but these results are unpredictable. A man can appear strong and hardy and fall within the same. I wish I could be of more assistance, but this is the best I am able to do for you. There is the matter of compensation, however. I would very much like to be a good Samaritan and do this at my own personal expense, but you realize I have other patients to care for, and I need much in the ingredients and materials to keep my business going.
I see.
This is not a cheap treatment. Who intends to pay for this treatment?
My character sort of nods his head to the ground a little bit in the direction of someone who's obviously discontented with their fortunes, but nonetheless looks back up. Could you give me an estimate? Worst case scenario?
Worst case scenario. Well, assuming your will pass within a few months, I can imagine that if I were to give him the utmost attention that I can, in spite of every other patient, and replenish the subsequent materials needed to keep him healthy and fed, and otherwise cared for in spite of his condition, I can imagine that within a month or two, I would say about 5 gold.
My character begins running his hand through his auburn hair. That is certainly a price I cannot currently afford.
Understand that I do not take pleasure in turning matters of health into business, but
I'm assured that you don't. It makes the world go round, and some people just don't have it. Is there any, I'm a sketch artist by trade. If I could assist you in some form of research with these blood mites, you call them, yes?
is correct.
Perhaps if I were to give you a few drawings of this creature to distribute to others of your profession, potentially for obviously some small amount of coin, could I get that cost reduced?
He gives you a sympathetic look, and then he kind of shakes his head back and forth. I was only able to find out what it was that truly caused your friend's condition because of one of the medical tomes that I keep. It details fully, with sketches, what these creatures do and how they function. Well, as far as we are aware, that is, where they come from, how they tend to spread their infection, causes, so on and so forth. I apologize, but that is already covered.
I see. My character puts his right hand underneath his chin as if he's attempting to think. I'd have to do quite a bit of posturing to find any work. Are you familiar with the guard captain or anyone who does the security around this area?
Well, we're a fairly wealthy small city, but not so wealthy that we have our own commander. That would likely, any sort of commander would likely be stationed in Cronenberg. That's some distance to the west. We have a militia and guards. They have a guard captain, but we do not have a commander. Regardless, this would be respectfully out of his purview.
Within his purview, no, I'm simply thinking of ways to issue you your payment.
I see.
My clientele typically includes sentimental farmers who want something of their departed. The guard captains typically employ me to sketch ruffians, interlopers, thieves, the sort. Or just on the odd occasion I can get one of the noble class or one of the wealthier merchants to issue me a compilation of things that they require with exact descriptions, but I'm just attempting to think about where I'm going
Yes,
to be getting this money.
I understand your predicament. I've seen your look and heard a similar weave of words from those that could not afford to pay such prices. Bear in mind that such prices barely cover my own expenditures, and I only make a small amount of coin for the purposes of the improvement of my business, of which you can see, he kind of motions around you, is of fairly humble beginnings.
Yes.
You'll have my word that I will take care of your companion for so long as I can within reason. I will not throw him out to the street. However, I will hold that his treatment is paid for. I am hoping that it does not go to a level where we need to get the law involved.
I should assume that is not. Professional shoulder he may look, but he came with a very fine horse, and in the worst case scenario, well, it would appear that there's a stable and a willing merchant in almost every town for fine breeds.
The apothecary gives you a nod. I hope you're right for his sake.
Honestly, that horse is probably fucking worth like 10 gold or more, dude.
Oh, like fucking 15 or more, not even including the barring.
It's worth, assuming you have the appraisal skill, the haggle skill, everything you need to get the full worth. Yeah, it's worth quite a bit.
Yeah, like I'm just talking if we're talking baseline, like.
However, what you're not considering
Yeah.
is the fact that the horse is not brand new, and that does impact its value. There's a lot of little things that you have to be aware of, but you're not on the wrong path. That's a good way to consider paying for it.
Gerard certainly won't be happy if he lives, but it's a way.
Well, you don't know, because currently he's definitely in a worse position than he was before. The apothecary kind of attempts to pat you on the shoulder. I will give you a moment with your companion, but please do not stay for too long. I work best alone.
Very well.
He stands up and exits the small patient room with maybe like up to 3 beds. There's not really much in the way of space. So you can imagine that this man on the wrong day would be overloaded fairly quickly. Likely have to make room by clearing out his personal belongings and essentially vacating most of the things in the room itself if something truly terrible should happen. The little red splotch kind of wiggles about in the container, still alive, with a red bloated behind and 4 squiggly little legs, and would appear to be 2 long kind of antennae kind of perching out. These are small details that, in your moment of thought, you pick up as you find something to transfix your gaze on. What do you wish to do?
My character will walk up to Geralt, closely examine him. I assume is he like still in his armor?
No.
I would assume not.
Nope. Yep. His armor was taken off and stored somewhere, assumedly. He is currently under the cotton sheets and breathing slowly. And his eyes are closed, and you can see that he has, as mentioned before, several fairly lessened, although prominent infections kind of along the left side of his face, left shoulder, and down across the middle of his neck. And he looks as if he's stable, for lack of a better way of putting it. But the very few times he does breathe through his mouth, it's raspy. He doesn't speak or move much.
My character shifts the weight of his stick onto his left hand and slowly, somewhat apprehensively reaches his right arm forward to touch his shoulder.
Yep.
Stay strong, friend. I have a feeling the world has need of you yet.
You do not receive a response.
My character takes his hand off and then starts walking towards the door, knowing
Yep.
that arguing or questioning someone who's catatonic is essentially pointless.
The apothecary bids you a good morning on the way out, and you can see that he goes back to his task, whatever that might be.
Good
And
morning.
He seems grinding something up in his mortar and pestle, and he gets right back to work with a certain level of urgency. All right.
Fuck you, Brian.
Debo, what is your character doing?
What time is it? It's noon, right?
It's probably about 8 a.m. by this time. The bounty hunter might still be waiting for you in the tavern. Your things are likely not done yet.
Yeah, I'll just head back to the tavern and see if I can run into the bounty hunter man.
Sure.
Because I assume Randall went to go check on Geralt, and yeah.
Yeah, you head back to the tavern, and seems as though the fellow that you had encountered earlier is at the table that you and Randall had both been sitting at prior. He has a piece of parchment, a larger piece of parchment, splayed out before him, and he seems to be surveying it with some interest, going over it with an ink and quill and making several scribblings. He has a mug of presumably ale by his side, and a half-eaten piece of cheese, a loaf of bread, and a couple strips of dried jerky.
Yeah, Atticus will stroll over with his spear in one hand because he can't really. I guess he could tuck it in the backpack, but whatever.
You can keep it on
He's just holding it right now.
Yeah, you can
And,
you can hold it in your hand if you want. You can keep it on your back. Okay.
Yeah, right now he's just holding it because he's just perusing. He'll set it down and set the pack down and take a seat and nod his head to the bounty hunter. It will take until noon for him to have what I require. Then I will be ready.
Well, then we have a deal, huh?
We do.
All right. The agreed price for this particular fellow was about 2 gold. I've done a majority of the work, so I'll be taking gold and 25 silver. You can have 75. You just need to be there. That's all you need to do. And if conflict breaks out, well, fight on my behalf.
Nods. Yes, that seems reasonable.
All right. Otherwise, the rest of it is fairly simple. He waves for you to come in close.
Yep, he does so. You know.
Right. So while you were gone, I managed to find where he's keeping himself. You see here is a personal abode, not particularly big, still clearly above the furnishings of the common folk, but he has a couple men. I counted 3 that I could see, and 2 entries, one at the back, one at the front. Now, I propose we skip that entirely. If we can find a way up onto some of the nearby hovels, we may be able to get up through the roof, climb in through one of the shutters. We're fortunate in that it's fairly dry and unpleasant, hot. So he'll keep one of them open. If we can get in through there, I'd imagine it wouldn't take much to gag him, apprehend him, use my rope to lower him out, get him on the carriage, take him back to Uldrick, where you and your companion will also, well, hitch a ride as well, seeing as you said you were going in that direction.
No, it seems like a sound plan.
The only thing that concerns me is I don't know if he has anyone else inside. I can only get so close. I'm not trying to spook him. If he realizes that I'm here, or that he's being actively chased in this place, well, that would make my job much more difficult, as then the guards get involved, and then bureaucracy, politics start, and then everything gets slowed to a crawl. And I don't know about you, I'm good at my job. I can't fight an entire militia or a patrol of guardsmen.
Shakes his head. Me neither. Not that I would want to.
So let's make this quick, quiet, and I see that my employer gets what he's due. And, by extension, you as well. 75 silver is fairly reasonable, considering you just need to be there. Right. Right. And your friend, I'm guessing he wants no part of this.
It is unlikely that he will have much desire to scale across the rooftops, no.
He did seem a bookish sort, not really much with a sword, and I can't imagine he can do anything with that stick, although I've been surprised before.
He is quite a talented artist. That is the extent of what I know of his abilities.
Well, I'm sure that goes over well in big cities and places that can afford those luxuries, but out here, there's not much money. It's all copper and silver, usually. Although, he thinks about it, there are some merchants here that make particularly hefty amounts of coin, especially with the trade that comes in and out, but let's be honest, how often is that shared amongst the regular folks? Right. We'll strike just past noon once you have what you need.
Very
And,
well.
Your job in this plan is to buy me enough time to get in through that shutter. Do what you can to distract those guards. Keep their eyes away from the shutters. I don't care how you do it, just make it happen. But if you get violent, well, I don't know you and I've never seen you. But if I succeed, I'll meet you at Uldrick. And if you get violent, that'll be 50 silver instead of 75.
Of course, where is this carriage to be met with?
I'll have it parked out near a brush, 10 minutes or so from the front gates of Covenal. I'll have one of my men supervising it, but he won't be there all night. It was a simple job. Here, he shows you the location on the map, roughly where the cart would be.
Yeah, Atticus does his best to study it and remember.
Keep an eye out for a farmhand with an eye patch. That's the man I paid to keep an eye on the wagon. Right. Meet up with me just past noon. We'll bring this noble into justice, and, well, take you on your merry way where you want to go.
Sounds to be a good deal to me. I will see you here afternoon.
There is, well, we'll see how you do here. Then we'll talk about a future. Right. I have work to do. All right. He furls up the map and places it in his pouch of his bag, the one he keeps at his side, along with various other tools. He drinks the rest of his ale, and then he begins to head up to the second floor, likely where he has a room. I need to piss. Beer back. Fuck.
Yeah.
You do here, Debo. You're basically sitting in the tavern. A lot of the patrons have kind of cleared out. The innkeeper's there, along with a couple of the handmaids. They're sort of sorting through the plates and mugs that are left, cleaning up, taking what few final orders there are before people head off for the day to continue their work, or in some cases begin it. Everything seems to be winding down at the moment. And the city, and the small city of Covenal is definitely come to life now with women and children and the interior workers bustling about the cobbled streets. Make no mistake, while it's not a major city, Covenal is a fairly important center for trade here, and it does tend to a lot of goods tend to flow in and out, and there is a reasonable concentration of wealth in this place. That being said, it's also still small and relatively young to a lot of the more established areas in Acretia. However, it does have the benefit of being close to a lot of their mines, and a lot of their precious metals are kind of close to this area. So you can imagine how they've grown so fast and done so well in such a short amount of time. That being said, what do you wish to do, Debo, my son? Fuck. Nigga dead. You alive, Spoon?
Yep.
Alright, Debo died. Alright, Spoon, we'll go to you since I guess Debo went AFK briefly. Spoon, what does your character wish to do now? You basically have just exited the apothecary and are kind of musing over the unfortunate events that have taken place or that are currently taking place.
Yep. Unaware of how much money that Atticus had before he met with his new friend. He'll likely be mulling over the options that he has in his head for how he could potentially make enough money to cover the costs, if not the expense, of keeping him alive for the moment.
Okay. All right.
Is there any... Like, how does the Merchant Republic's, like, trading system work? Do they just, like, go to a warehouse and hawk their goods, or do they have, like, individual contracts already previously laid out? Is there, like, missives sent ahead of time that I would know about? To, like, store
when
their
you're
shit?
asking about how the trade functions, so like with most economies in a similar time period, a lot of it is done by land and sea as the only options. You know that. And more importantly, people tend to trade in a fairly similar way, typically through warehouses and places of storage. Goods get held in the most convenient and easily accessible area, and then they are, if they need to be refined or added to, they are then transferred to whatever tradesman or industry does that. It is then shipped to a place for holding. It is then taken to the docks, loaded up onto ships, and then taken to wherever it needs to go. Are you asking more about the political side of the trade, i.e. how things are set up?
I'm just trying to get a sense of, like, where most merchants would typically frequent when they're not enjoying the excesses, assuming they're, successful of their trade.
Usually you can find merchants that are particularly successful, and Covenal has many. In case you were wondering, Nazir is one of them. They tend to spend a lot of their time in luxury shops and places. Good examples would be jewelers, goldsmiths, tailors for exotic wares. They tend to spend a lot of time more so in taverns that are in their price range, brothels, of which Covenal has several, high-class brothels specifically. They tend to spend their time in bookshops, which are almost exclusively a noble privilege, not because they're essentially gated in Acretia. It's just everything is so expensive, and they don't really allow you to read things. You just buy it and get the fuck out,
Right.
You typically find successful merchants or wealthy merchants in places where goods you can buy there are either useful but not entirely necessary, or they're completely luxury. And being that while Kovenol is small, it's still a fairly essential trade port that links to a major route. You can most definitely find places like that. Usually player characters don't go for places like that because, I mean, it's expensive and they usually don't have money. And more importantly, you buy a super fancy, several inlaid ruby, diamond, emerald fucking ring. And it's like, okay, cool. But what does that do? You know what I mean?
Makes me fucking rich by association. That's what it fucking does. Anyway.
You and I both know that players tend to be in gaming much more practical than they are in real life. Usually. Because you always want something that helps you get ahead. Like a golden ring or some sort of luxury good might signal something to people, but I mean, you're looking for some sort of obvious and useful functionality, you know?
I mean, there is a successful and useful functionality of walking around and looking like you own the place, which is that people tend to treat you better if they think you're of a higher status, but we don't have nearly the amount of money to even pretend that we're that high status.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Like, yeah. I hope I answered your question. If I didn't, ask it again, and I'll try my best to, I guess, answer it in a different way.
That is actually fairly satisfactory. Going around, would I notice any of the signs in, not disrepair, do I notice any of the signs having, like, indentions or marrings of age or like water damage that would indicate that there's sign there's been there for quite an egregious amount of time, possibly need touch up?
Yeah, there are a few here and there. Kovenol is relatively upkept in terms of its infrastructure and all the little kind of niche trades that come along with it. There's an odd sign that can be touched up a bit, but everything that you've seen so far here is at the very least functional. Someone could use it, get to where they wanted to go, and there wouldn't be much in the way of complication. Obviously, words, letters and words could be made brighter. Certain things could be made to stand out a bit more, or rephrased a certain way, or certain pictures could be drawn to help people that are illiterate, which is a problem that regardless of where somebody is, people tend to face in the world. Yeah, you can find the odd sign or I guess navigational tool that could use some artistic assistance.
Yeah, all right. I'll try paying those institutions a visit and see if I can't barter for my services at a reasonable price.
Okay. Sure. You would basically, do you have any local knowledge of the area, of this particular area?
I don't think I have local knowledge, period.
Gotcha. Right now you're basically relegated to just asking people. That's what you would be doing in that case.
That sounds fair.
Cool. All right. So you end up, how do you want to phrase your question? I'm going to assume you're just going to walk from person to person, whoever will actually speak with you, and ask the question after you make some friendly conversation, right?
I mean, I would assume I would go to like the stores in question that would have these signs that need touching up, and ask their owners, if not their desk people, directly.
Okay. Good way to do it. All right.
I would basically phrase it if they would be interested in, for a modest price, receiving a touch up on their sign, which might help them with people who cannot unfortunately read words and need a bit of a visual indicator of what you sell there.
Okay. Yeah, the blacksmith and the blacksmith actually has a sign that could use some touch up. He gives you a look and asks you well, I'd be more than happy to pay for a fair day's work on what we've got here. Do you have your Artisans Guild membership?
Artisans Guild membership?
Yes, he The blacksmith kind of holds up a hand and goes, a moment. He wipes some sweat from his brow, puts his hammer off to the side. You'll notice he doesn't have an apprentice, or apprentices, which is a unusual thing. Usually most smiths tend to have them, but I guess he doesn't. He returns with a small piece of parchment that looks rather official, with an insignia at the bottom and several fancy-looking signatures at the bottom, written in some very, very elaborate cursive. Yeah, this says that. See, for me, I belong to the Smiths Guild, and as part of our agreement with every other guild, we only support members that are in their guild. It brings us all together and prevents us from, getting one up on one another, so we can all make a living, keep fair business going. You understand how it is. Do you have your artisan's membership?
Do I have an artisan's membership? I am a professional sketch artist.
When you say, well, I mean, you might be very good at what you do, but is that something realistically that your character would have acquired in Acretia? In your opinion?
I mean, if he needs to ply his trade, yeah.
No. Ply his trade legally. You can always ply your trade. It's just people
My
might
character has legal knowledge.
Yeah. Okay. So in order to at least here, bear in mind that like different villages, towns, cities will have different regulations. So when you were in places like Drime and Lakeshore, they might have had more lax regulations in terms of just like what you can and can't do. Kovanal, likely due to the mass amount of wealth that it has and the fact that a lot of traders and businessmen want to set up here, since it is a fairly prestigious trading port, might have different rules. So for this particular area, what I would say is this. In the areas that you had frequented, Lakeshore and Drime being two of them, is that correct?
I guess.
The rules there were probably either non-existent or incredibly relaxed. You could ply your trade without thought, mostly, and nobody would give you a hard time about it. Unfortunately, at least Kovanal, they seem to either prefer you to have this license or require it for you to ply your trade so as not to cause friction between the guilds. That seems to be what the document states, because you can read, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be the case here. The smith continues. Look, if you don't have a membership, you could always get one.
My character sighs a bit. I understand. Do you know how much that would run me?
Smith thinks about it. Well, they don't just accept anyone. You have to prove that you know what you're doing, and you have to have a business or a startup in Kovanal, and then you pay your dues as part of the guild, but they give you benefits.
My character starts like knocking his forehead against his stick. I see.
Are you all right?
I'm not used to pieces of paper disrupting my profession so easily.
Well,
Can't exactly afford to buy a storefront in every city I wish to ply my trade.
Well, I was where you were at one point. I came here and started smithing, and well, needless to say, they didn't take too kindly to me just undercutting the other smiths that worked in Kovanal. Well, recommended that I toe the line like everyone else and do business fairly. And, well, might not be making as much as I could have, especially when they take their cut off the top, but I'm alive, ply my trade, and, well, I could feed my kids and my wife. But you, he gives you a look, you're not from here, are you?
No.
You're from, he kind of struggles for a couple seconds. Imperium?
I'm from the eastern part of the Imperium. faraway village you've likely never heard of called Cena.
Thinks about it for a couple seconds. I don't know about imperial matters. You just don't look like one of us. Well, sorry, friend. I'd pay you, I would. Honest day's work for an honest day's coin. Where I came from, it wasn't this complicated, but here these people do things different.
My character's, well, I don't suppose I could go ask if the butcher if he needs another hand, then, if this is going to do this, guild thing, then either.
I'll make it easy on you. Any of us that ply trades worth paying for tend to belong to our respective guild, and, well, a lot of our guild masters tend to keep in close contact with the fellows in Cronenberg. If you want to ply your trade, I'd recommend North, maybe Drime, Lakeshore. Hell, you could even maybe do, not there because of the wolves. You could maybe do Ribbon. Although, well, they're a bit too close to those Hurst Elf woods, if you catch my drift.
Aye. Well, thank you for
sorry,
your time,
friend.
Sir Smith.
Hope you're not needing of that money. I'd hate to deny a man on hard times, but my hands are tied.
Yes, well, I have means of making it. It's just rather unpalatable to part a knight from his horse over. Oh, would you believe this? Man gets dehorsed by this small insect. It's outrageous.
Smith kind of shrugs. Goes, had my boy bit by a snake once. Had to take him to the apothecary. Cost me an arm and a leg, but treatment was good and he survived.
My character nods.
My boy is on 13 years. He's big and strong. He helps me out when he can, but mother wants him to study and become one of those philosophical sorts. Regardless, Snake is much smaller. Took him down and damn near would have died without the apothecary there, so sometimes it ain't the size, it's how much venom it has. At least that's what the apothecary said. If it's small, it doesn't mean that it's harmless. Since then, I've been looking side-eyed at everything tiny that crawls or slithers.
I expect I'll be doing the same in the near future and trying to stay away from those blasted wolves.
Yeah, well, there's one thing I've learned in this life, friend. He rolls up his contract, kind of places it on a nearby table, picking up his hammer again as he begins to heat up the forge, blowing air inside of it with the call it the foot pedal. One thing I've learned living in this place is death comes for us all one way or another. Grandfather died of sickness. Mother died giving birth to me. It's just a whole lot of death. You just have to find ways to get along.
Good words to live by. Good fortune to you, Mr. Smith.
Good luck to you. Oh. Hoggard. That's my name.
Lando Moros.
Good to meet you, Randall. Well, I hope you can help your friend. And, well, ply your trade where you wish to. Times are certainly rough.
That they are. My character
Good
gives
luck,
him a final nod, and then he starts paddling his stick away.
Yep. The Smith gives you a nod and sends you on your way. Yeah. Unfortunately, for Randall, this particular section of Croatia, at least Covenal specifically, does seem to have some sort of merchant guild collective in power. That doesn't make it illegal to do what you do, but usually these guilds tend to work in such a way where they heavily discourage doing business with people that aren't part of their group. You tend to know how that works, Spoon.
Ah, yes,
It's-
I remember Jaraxxus's little interest with the guild. I remember that very well. I remember them just getting fucking frustrated with me, just outright saying, like, we're fucking extorting you, pay up, bitch.
Yep. That was a while ago too, but yeah, no, it's legit. I mean, not all of them are like super villainous, like despicable organizations, right? But like they tend to try and it's a very it's a very socialistic concept. You know what I mean? A lot of people tend to work for relatively the same, and ultimately a bunch of that wealth gets filtered. What is it? Transferred up to the top. It's like a pyramid scheme. You know,
Yep.
it's typically how it works. Sadly.
The joys of socialism, the big pyramid scheme.
Yep. Pretty much, my dude. It feels bad, but hey, they can swing it. If they've got the muscle and the wealth, they can do it.
And I suppose just operating under that assumption, I can't just straight sell.
There is nothing you cannot do. You just need to be willing to accept whatever consequences may come your way if you do and somebody finds out. I will never say you cannot.
Right. I am just aware that those consequences will likely occur should I come back, because I'm likely going to leave at some point.
Yeah, possibly, unless you want to live there.
Honestly, if he has to set up a fucking, like, a storefront and get, like, a license, which likely costs an arm and a leg in itself, just to open up a fucking shop where he can draw shit.
I mean,
That's...
it's considered a trade. Cartography, trade. Butchery, trade. Smithing, trade. Gunsmith, trade. Carpentry, trade. Now, just because you could argue sketch artistry is not as important as carpentry doesn't mean it doesn't fall under a trade. Here's the thing. Not all trades are created equal.
True.
So it's like, yeah, it might fall under a trade. It might not make as much money. But trade. Okay.
I'm just sitting here goes like, alright, the options I have are mercenary work, my character's a shit fighter. Butchery, don't have a license. Sketch archery, license. Selling the horse, I'm not a licensed fucking caregiver for a horse, and it's not my horse.
Yeah, you're not in a good position right now, but you're not in an impossible situation. You have an option that you've considered that is intelligent, simple, and will work. It's just it'll cost you an incredibly valuable resource in a highly prized, battle-proven horse, which that's no small thing. So I get it. You're trying
And the
to.
real problem is finding someone who wants to buy it.
Yep, fair, definitely fair. I mean, you're in a place that has been described as like on the rise, fairly wealthy and successful. So you could probably find someone with the interest. The thing is, just like finding that person, and not only that, you have to find the right kind of person because like the horse itself is great, but war horses are bred for war, and they would be wasted anywhere else. You know what I mean? More
my character
importantly,
doesn't really know the true value of a war horse, so he doesn't really know much about wasting stuff.
well, I mean, look at Debo's character. Like, he doesn't have anything in the way of appraisal either, or anything that allows him to accurately gauge value.
Yeah, so I'm a retard. I'm straight up just retarded. Like,
no, you're not retarded. It's just that's not a skill set you ever picked up. In real life, none of us have that ability. We guess. You put something in front of us, and we'll be like, based on what I know and maybe this, it's probably worth about that much. And most of the time, we'll be wrong. Like, it's just a skill you have to learn or pick up throughout life. And it makes sense that your characters wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Inevitably, Debo, are you still in the inn?
until noon, and then I'm gonna head to the blacksmith. Yeah.
Yeah. You end up encountering Randall, coming back from the smith on your way there. You guys may interact should you so choose.
Nod to Randall and just explain to him the fucking plan. basically, that he's gonna go with the bounty hunter, meet in a carriage outside the North Woods where a guy will be waiting. So, yeah.
I see. What should we do with this horse?
Character shrugs. Not my horse.
Yes, well, unfortunately, Gerald is likely to be indisposed for quite a while.
What's wrong with him?
Uh, this small creature that he may have attracted onto himself while fighting those wolves back in the last town. Blood mites, I believe he called them. Gave him a series of rather nasty-looking buboes and other heinous-looking infections. Something he's likely to be fighting for quite a while from hence.
Oh, that does not sound particularly appealing.
It's not a particularly cheap thing to treat either. The apothecary, worst case scenario, stated that he could be bedridden for months. And in that scenario, 5 crowns. As if I'm going to pull that from the ether.
Oh, rub his fucking forehead and just go, well, surely. Well, did the apothecary make arrangements with you on this? He's not going to throw him in the gutter, is he?
He stated that he won't throw him in the gutter, but I don't quite know what he is prone to do in the event of his death, and well, I assume that armor of his is going to be worth quite a tidy sum. I doubt they'll just throw him out on the account that he lives and we never come back.
Well, I do not wish to see Gerald perish if it can be helped. There must be
He is a
some.
good kid, and admittedly not my responsibility, but, well, he is a capable fighter and very easily swayed in a place where apparently one can't even fucking draw without a license in the city.
Odd, but yes, I get your meaning. It is unwise for him to be moving, I assume. So,
He was not conscious last I saw of him.
how
Likely,
long did he say that he would require rest?
it varies, anywhere from like 1 or 2 weeks to several months. He claimed that Gerald was big, strong, and healthy looking, even despite the illness, but, well, I'm sure you've heard of snake bites, other vermin, heinous diseases, claiming the lives of even the strongest of men.
Yes. If there is still time, we could continue on the path and return on our way back once all is said and done.
Oh, I am
Here.
absolutely assured that the debt will be waiting for us when we come back.
Good to know. Very well. I suppose this job became a little more important.
I doubt that the payment is so needed and forthcoming that you would need to spend the amount immediately.
Spoon,
Hmm?
give me a census check. Just
18?
beat it. Just beat like a 5.
18?
What the fuck is that fancy looking weapon at his side? That strange fancy looking weapon that you do not recognize at all.
I think it's what in the 9 hells is that?
And that backpack, that rather high quality looking, very large backpack.
Oh yeah, Brian.
No, it's legit. You can see all this stuff. Man. Fucking Devo. Attacking my loot, fucking toxic misogynist, fucking piece of
Fuck you.
Speaking of which, Brian, would I recognize the sword considering my character has been to Sheen?
No, because it is not from Sheen. I will be right back and leave. I'm gonna get some coffee. I will leave you guys at the dun dun dun.
Alright.
Fucking nigger.
Fuck.
I did ask him, I was like, what in the nine hells is that?
It's a sword.
Did you not already have a sword?
Yes, but there is a supposed legend, according to the merchant that sold me this, that should you acquire the second, you become considerably more formidable.
Yes, and there's also a legend that when you eat Constantian food that does not have a spicy finish, that doesn't make it true.
Shrugs. He seemed trustworthy to me.
Trustworthy enough, evidently, to purchase a number of things. What did that run you?
Enough, that means we need to find work, or rather, I need to find work. I did manage to acquire ink. He'd fish out the fucking little thing of ink and hand it to Randall.
What is this for?
Well, I was going to use it to draw my map, but if you require it, well, I do not mind sharing it.
Look, require it for what? I can perfectly serviceable amounts of charcoal at the moment.
Shrugs. Said it is waterproof. If something is important that needs to be drawn, then it can be done in this.
I mean, the ink can be as waterproof as it likes. The paper will still wrinkle.
Shrugs, puts it back in his pack. I need to visit the blacksmith.
Yes, I would imagine so. And, well, I suppose I'll have to find a way to entertain myself for the evening, as I apparently can't ply my trade in this godforsaken place.
Why not? Was it some... No, let me guess. Bureaucracy. You need to fill out some form that lets you kiss someone's ass.
Ah, yes, after you purchase a plot of land, at the very least, evidently, and kiss the ass of the exterior of all the guilds, as it were.
Well, that sounds miserable. I can't
It
wait
also
to go
sounds
home.
expensive and out of my price range.
Cannot wait to return home.
Yes, I imagine you can't.
Literally the Imperium. Worse.
Yeah, literally worse, but like at the same time, fuck these fucking merchant faggots.
All right, Randall, do you want to fucking... All right, Randall, do you want to fucking set up your fucking... your desk job? All right. Do you own land? No. Fuck you.
So, yeah, he'd have told Randall that the plan is to stow away this merchant and the carriage that will be taking us on our way further to that other town. What the fuck is it called again?
You're trying to get to Uldrick, and you'll be passing over the toll bridge that leads to Willenheim, and then you'll get to Uldrick, which is past Willenheim to the east. You guys have got a very long journey ahead of you.
Yep, but fortunately, or so we've been told, it is all good as long as we go on this carriage, right?
Well, I suppose we can only help. Shall I wait for you at the tavern?
Nod.
Okay.
He'd nod and be like, "You could stand by at the tavern, but once things are done, I believe our friend will wish to depart." He mentioned that this carriage will not be guarded for very long. So perhaps, he'd consider it.
Wait, my character looks left and right, then he, like, asks you to lean forward conspiratorially.
Yep, leans forward conspiratorially.
Are we stealing a carriage?
No. He has acquired it through legal means, I can only assume, and I have not questioned him, so I do not know otherwise.
So we're
And
stealing a carriage.
I'm not going to question it, Randall. He
Fucking love how Spoon asks questions so much.
What?
Like if I was just trying to like nut and go, I'd need like a fucking 10-minute game with you guys. I would have nutted and just canceled everything else. God damn it.
It's just like, wait, like,
Wait,
get
did
the
we
fuck over
steal
it.
a carriage, Tebow? Well, I'm gonna be real with you, dog.
I never asked, and I don't.
I'm pretty sure it was legal, but I'm not gonna ask because if I put my hands over my eyes and can't see it, it doesn't exist.
And so my character's just like, so we're stealing a carriage.
For the greater good.
Hell yeah, brother.
Well, if nothing else, maybe we can find someone who purchases the carriage. My character starts almost like laughing as he palms his face. Oh,
Insert just Spoon meta sobbing through his character.
I would rather be in the bloody scar right now.
Oof. Oof.
I want to know how this guy is expecting me to create a distraction.
Any way you can see fit. You could probably
Literally
pretend to like be drunk and just like fucking like slam on the doors like, hey, you fuckers, you wonder if I ask you about my wife and just like distract people? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, that's what I would do, but Atticus is, I don't know if you noticed, but he's not a charisma character.
You don't need to be a charisma character to be an annoyance.
True.
That's why he basically said just distract them however you can. You don't have to be. Jesus. Everybody's always like, yeah. You know what would be really nice? A female party member. KW.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. You know, if the elf was here, she could do a distraction.
Fuck off.
One of the best distractions I've ever seen in my life, or like heard, was during like a game of fucking Shadowrun, done by a troll of all people. The player just like walked up to this like rent-a-cop security guard who couldn't give a single fuck but isn't like shoot on sight status. He starts drunkenly rambling about his fucking orc wife. He's like, "Hey man, you ever hear about how orcs fucking have litters of kids? It's fucking real. How does she have 16 kids, man?" Just do shit like that, or just say you're on official Imperium business. Just make shit up, or just punch somebody. He's only docking you 25 silver if you punch somebody.
Devo, I'm going to give you some honest to God advice. Play your character however you want. However, here's what I will say as player, not as a GM. Whenever I play, here's my motto. Whatever I do, as long as I don't get caught, it was all legal.
Yeah, like that's what I'm fucking. That's how I play too, dude. Like, are you kidding me?
If I don't get caught, unlucky.
Why do you think I bought the fucking big bag? We're going to a fucking mansion, bro. If I see something worth stealing, you better believe it.
See, yeah, but the difference here is that I tend to use different language.
I'm gonna appropriate it from.
Borrow permanently sounds better than steal. Steal's got a lot of negative connotations.
I'm gonna manage to stumble upon this mysterious treasure that happens to be in a nobleman's vault. It's not my fault my map led here.
Yeah, like you were really drunk, you tripped and fell, and then next thing you know, you had several bags of gold. Like, yeah, Reese faulty. What do you want? Fuck.
Fell on several back.
Dude, I was just thinking of our game, Brian, where our strategy was literally just break down the fucking door, unga bunga through the house, find nothing, and leave. Take all the candles.
Yeah, literally it. When I don't play a planning character, I'll play to their strengths. What was my character's strength? Being a raiding scumbag.
Speaking
Literally
of playing to
it.
our strengths, could I roll sense magic?
Yes, you can.
Nine.
Hold on. Hold your delicious titties.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Okay. You attempt to focus your vision Actually, I'm gonna double check. Ah, yeah, Spoon. Roll a disaster die. 1.
Wait, disaster die.
Yeah, you roll a disaster die with magic sense.
Oh,
Not to like you'll get. You're fine. It's not to create dumb shit or have shit go wrong outside of your own head, if that makes sense. It's basically like you look and you try to piece together knowledge using the strands of the fucking dark beyond, and if you fuck it up, you might see things that are fucked, which is a 1. Otherwise, you're fine. Yeah, you focus your vision in on this ornate foreign sword, and you don't seem to sense anything inherently magical about it. There's no hum, whistle, or aura about it that indicates it has been enchanted in any particular way.
all right.
Yep. Spoon, I'll give you 1 XP for doing something really simple.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I would have done. He told me the tale of the legendary Maxon.
I mean, it's a
What
good
shot?
sword, but
No, it's excellent. It's good.
it
But
ain't
it's
no
not magic
sword.
excellent.
Well, it's like, bro, it's like the spear of Lu Bu in our world. It's got a certain level of like prestige behind it, and then people will like mythologize it based on the person. I mean, in this world, there's a chance that could actually be legit, but like that's a thing that people tend to do, right?
I mean, it's legendary by comparison to every other weapon I own, so
It's a status symbol.
I mean, the only thing better than it is my rifle, but you know,
But this is a katana, so for you, it'll always have one.
you're right.
Because you're fucking toxic massage piece of shit.
You're
Okay.
right. I also am a duelist, so I'm fucking extra cool.
Debo just opens the door. Hello, gentlemen. Who the fuck are you? Defend your honor.
Alright. It will be the legendary version. Fuck.
The bounty hunter's just like, you know, you just made less money, right? Yeah, but it was cool.
As he looks at his full backpack, did I? Did I really?
Debo hears the legend of the fucking dual katanas that will bring him to a level of martial skill unparalleled, and the first thing he thought of was, and then I could finally defeat Gerard and stick my balls in his
Yeah,
The gun is for you, idiot.
Yeah.
Literally, that's the first thing I thought of too. I'm like, this is, yeah, happening.
All right. Well, I gave it a bit of a squint, and my character says nothing after the fact.
Anyway, Atticus continues to explain his plan of, you know, helping out with this thing, requiring a distraction.
So
And-
should I wait for you outside one of the gates with the horse?
Yes, the front gate would be preferable.
Okay.
Thank you, Randall.
How long
All
do you
right.
reckon this should take? I could probably use a drink right about now.
What was that? I didn't hear you.
How long do you reckon this should take? I could use a drink right about now.
It is around noon, so it'd be, give me, let's say, an hour after noon. I believe that he should have concluded his business by then, and if not, well, it will only take a little longer after that.
Very well. That should be more than enough time for a drink and to hopefully pull a bloody war horse by the reins.
Spoon,
Mhm.
and actually just you, Spoon. Give me a willpower check. I would call for a DC 25.
No.
Not
Oh
even-
my god.
Okay. Spoon. You feel a distinct sense of unease. Unnatural unease, not based in reality. Your first instinct is to look around like a crazed man. You have the distinct sense that something or someone is watching you from somewhere far away. And they see you and every move you make. That is all. It chills you to the bone. You're not scared or terrified in the way that would require a courage or a resolve check, but this is what you feel. Debo, you do not get a roll for this.
No, but I see him freaking out, and Atticus would try and like pat him on the shoulder to steady him and be like, Randall,
Atticus
what?
continues
What
looking
is it?
around.
What is it?
It's jolting. Like when Atticus makes contact with you in that moment, it's like you're in an entirely separate realm for that brief half of a second. When his hand makes contact with you, it to you has a lot more force than he had even used. It's almost like you're being jolted back into reality.
What? So I'm assuming the feeling stops.
Yep. The feeling has surpassed, but the knowledge will be with you.
It felt like something was watching me.
Watching you. You still have the... He'd lower his voice and lean in real close.
I have the thing.
Well, if it is... it could still be affecting you. If it is affecting you, I would take it.
Sure.
Yep, Atticus would automatically point the finger at the fucking evil giant Tomb of Destiny that he freaked out at last time, and would accept it if it's given and just tuck it away safely back where it was before.
Yep. Yes. Stuff it in your deep oxen hide backpack, and make sure that it's nice and secure. And you might even check on it occasionally to make sure it hasn't spreaded legs and walked away.
Yep, we're paranoid about this shit now, dude.
Yep.
And
Okay.
He'd nod and say, "Good. Get a drink and meet me at the gate."
Yeah, we'll do.
Nods noddingly, knowing the horrors of the fucking teeth, the teeth. And yeah, go to the blacksmith, get my shit.
Okay. After witnessing Randall's brief departure from this world, you tend to you might lend more thought to how quickly some of this will be catching up to you. It has been a relatively silent period, and for the most part, peaceful since you left Constantia and Lakeshore and neighboring Drime. In fact, Covenal seems to be in a state of normalcy, all things considered. But at your heels, you know that it's only a matter of time until you collide with something far bigger than yourself.
That's
You
what
reach-
the katana is for, bro.
Say your katana of destiny!
Literally that, yeah.
I'm gonna fucking hold you down and stab you.
I imagine it's like fucking Brian playing fucking Ghost of Tsushima. Fail stealth check. I challenge you!
Fail check. Shows you duel.
Yeah, literally that. Just shows you dope. That dope.
I'm walk up behind you, take my dagger and spot it. It's an honorable duel. It's toxic as fuck.
Yeah.
God damn it. Fucking Devo, save me, mystical destiny katana.
My character sheet's still under plot dice. It just says, "Bro, I wish."
Oh god.
All lowercase, just "Bro, I fucking wish."
Anime katana, please.
Oh.
All right. You reach the smith, and as he sees you approaching, he fiddles near his workbench, and he ends up bringing out a pouch, placing it on his on the anvil along with a couple of the throwing knives for you to examine. He undoes the strap in the pouch. All right,
Oh,
have a
yeah.
look.
Brian, sorry to interrupt, but do you want me
Yeah.
to add +1 to the fucko-meter?
Sure. You know, I might actually invent a rule around the fuckometer that says once it reaches 10, something absolutely bullshit happens, but this is just
Sweet.
for fun. This is just for fun.
Your
Yeah.
fucking meter, bro.
He encourages you to have a look and make sure everything's up to snuff.
Yeah,
but not,
Atticus does his best to, do it with his little appraise skills.
yeah, you don't really know the value of these things, but you can kind of measure them roughly, take the weight of the knives into account, balance them properly. Yep, they seem to be well crafted. The shot is also about as simple as it gets. Several round iron balls that you can fit in your gun and fire at a moment's notice. Yeah, you have what you paid for. The smith gives you another look and goes, anything else? Don't usually have too many folks coming around spending what you have, but willing to.
I do not require anything else, but I would be wondering if you would like to purchase something. And he put the longsword on the fucking counter.
Well, all right, let's have a look. Debo,
I think it was a okay longsword. It was standard.
average. Well,
Yeah.
it has also seen some use.
No, it
how
hasn't. I haven't used it once.
you haven't used your longsword once?
Nope.
Where did you get it from?
The last village we were in.
Last village we were in. Okay, you just have to refresh my memory real quickly.
Drime, when we were in Drime.
Did you buy it or find it?
I got it from the blacksmith in Drime.
Got it. So you bought it from him and now you're trying to resell it, correct?
Yeah, because I got the Tanner, so it's like I don't want to carry too much shit.
Sure. He gives the sort of look. Decent craftsmanship. Hasn't seen much use, if any. This is almost brand new. He ponders for a minute. Hold on, I'm just bringing up the chart. 20, yep. It's common. That's average quality. You get standard. Yeah, he's feeling particularly generous. He'll take a bit off the top, but for the most part. Thinks about it. I'll give you 15 silver for it. Best I can do.
Atticus considers it and then just nods, bows his head. Very well.
He nods and procures 15 silver from his pouch and hands it to you. Give you a better deal, but I got to make a profit. You understand?
I understand.
Yep. He gives you a nod and says, well, thank you for your business, and, well, we hope to see you around.
Of course, I may see you yet when I pass through here again. Farewell.
Good. Have a good night. He goes back to work. All right, Debo. Are you ready for the fucking heistening cheese?
Yep, just give me a sec. I'm adding stuff to my list.
Yep. Let me know when you're done. If you need any stuff, just let me know. Eventually, guys, I'm gonna make a list, or like a list of weapon qualities and stuff. I got rid of that stuff along with the crafting system, probably because I put it in the trash bin and forgot that Google basically does this whole 30 days and it ditches your shit thing. That's probably what happened, and I'm a little bit salty about it, but it's okay. I'll make the new list and date everything, make sure it's good to go for armor and weapons and stuff like that.
All right.
So for the most part, we're just going off the top of our head, which is in no way balanced or reliable, but fuck it. Okay. Thankfully, the pricing chart is still here.
All right, Atticus loads up looking like a man fucking seen too much shit. Now he's armed to the teeth.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, you are prepared for the road. As ready as you can be. Do you wish to meet up with the bounty hunter, whose name you yet to receive? Yes?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was just checking something over. Thing.
Yep, no problem. Okay. He meets up with you just past noon. about a minute or so away from the actual isolated small manorial estate, surrounded by some farm. Not much, fairly modest for a fellow of means, as it were. He gives you a nod. Ah, you showed up. I'll be completely honest with you. In spite of your equipment, I imagined you might forget or just think better of it. All right.
Shakes his head. Nope. I am a man of my word.
Good to see. You know, you might have a future in this business. But we'll see how you perform. Right. You see those men over there? He points across the field where a few scattered farmhands tend to the grain.
Yep. He nods.
All right. 2 by the front, 2 by the back. There was an extra man that I had missed. He was probably inside when I had taken my initial scouting of the place. My money is that he's close to the room right there. You see that shutter? Bet he's in there sleeping. I need you to find a way to draw those guards.
I can think of several ways of doing it, but some of them are more destructive than others. Not necessarily violent, but destructive.
I'm not concerned with you destroying property. I'm concerned offing folks. That tends to get messier. Now, both are bad, but, well, murder is not something that they let you pay off here, usually.
Nods.
And I don't have the money to pay it off, so use it lightly.
He nods in understanding. Yes, of course.
All right, so I'll draw you a picture, Devo, so you have a better idea of kind of what you're looking at.
Yep.
One day, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy Wonder Draft and Dungeon Draft, and I'm just going to make a shitload of dungeons so that I can just like use some stocks and shit like that.
Oh yeah, draw me a fucking picture, little bitch.
Fuck you, nigger. All right, so this is the small kind of private manor estate. The fields that you can pass through that provide light cover as well as a stealth bonus, I'll mark in yellow.
Fucking Dead by Daylight.
God, please, not the corn, bro.
I'm gonna fucking pallet loop these guards in the corn.
Oh my god, you play killer, you get it. Corn's toxic. Antsy fucking shit, dude.
Honestly, the first idea that comes to mind is just light that shit on fire. And like light a field on fire, and then they're all gonna be like, "Oh, it's on fire! Oh shit!"
So yellowish is kind of where the fields either end to begin or what have you. Image is about as close to scale as you can get without me having to do a fucking giant chart. So the entrance for this section is here. There are stationary guards at both sides. And on the upper floor, there is a single open shutter. The rest are closed. And I will see here. I'm going to spawn in some fucking components. All right. Here we go. There's one there. This one there. Inside is a mystery, but assuming everything goes according to plan, you won't have to worry about inside. You'll just have to worry about outside. The guards he has asked you to distract are these two here at the front, who are a bit more, a bit closer to the shutter and would be the most likely to spot him. More importantly, there's one other section I need to draw, and it's one of the, yeah. It's one of the small storage shacks where they keep some of the tools. That's what he'll be using to get on top here. However, it's not particularly high, so these two could still see him if they were just to,
So the ideal place is to just bring him over here.
So what you've got is you've got corn that functions as light cover on the off chance that you have to deal with ranged attacks, which means anybody shooting at you gets a bit of a penalty to their attack. And also that gives you a stealth bonus because it's rather thick. There are some workers in the corn that are kind of scattered throughout. I'll mark those right now so that you know what you're getting into, that you have seen just from the distance you're at.
Sean, where are we at? Like,
Hold on here. So black are workers, Keck W.
damn.
Fuck off. Kind of what you're looking at. And I realize how fucking funny it is when I say black are the workers. That's just the alternate color, Mad.
Yeah.
This is what you're looking at. None of the workers are actively looking for people in stealth or paranoid. They're just kind of looking around, doing their jobs. Some of them are on their hands and knees, scraping out weeds. Some of them are actively harvesting, and some are doing a combination of both. The guards are attentive, not overly so, but they're looking around. They're making sure nobody that shouldn't be on the property is on the property. And occasionally, guards on either side will rotate, walk around, and switch places with the other guard to cover the building as best they can. That's the information that you will have that he'll relay to you. Yeah. Do you ask him any questions? He takes out a length of rope. He takes out a grappling hook. He begins to cinch it off. He takes out a rather interesting looking crossbow on his back. It has a bizarre kind of square addition to the top. He opens it like he would open a small chest or lockbox, and then he takes several very tiny bolts from his backpack and he begins fitting them in one by one. What you're seeing is multiple shots in this thing, probably around 12. He uses a kind of a levy system from underneath to pull on this wooden latch to cinch them in. And he kind of looks over at you, and then he looks at the crossbow kept at your side. Used to use one of those myself. Good, reliable. No, but yeah, not much in the way for long shots. This, he holds up his crossbow. Same thing, not much in the way of range, and it ain't going to do much to anybody in proper armor, but, well, against guys like this, it's not too terrible.
The character nods, thumbs
So,
back to the musket, and says, "Well, that's what this is for."
He kind of gives a nervous laugh and says, "Yeah, last resort."
He gives a bit of a nod. Yes, of course. And yeah, so I'm trying to just get a layout of this shit because I'm trying to like.
Sure. Whatever.
Where the fuck are we?
Okay, so to give you an idea, you have currently traveled to a manorial estate.
No, I mean, like, where are we presently standing on, like, relative to this map?
So relative to this map, I would say that you guys are probably, where are your models here? Here's your model. You'd be somewhere over there, like over on this side, probably here exactly. And don't worry about these. As I said, like nobody's actively looking for intruders or any of that shit. The grain is high. The grain is plentiful and high enough that you could just crouch and avoid most casual glances. As for him, this is where you guys will be starting. You're basically coming in through the side. And for him, I will give him a model as well. That is his model. So, There we go. So you're basically kind of on a flat, kind of semi-dryish patch of land that kind of leads to the side of the building. It doesn't have anything planted there currently. To your left and right, as I said before, grain for some distance. In spite of being a small estate, this is not entirely uncommon. The workers, there aren't too many workers on this field, and again, the guard is fairly lax. At the moment, you have a clean slate to approach the estate from this side as you wish. Your job is to distract the guards somehow. He looks over at you and goes, right. I'm going to go. Oh, sorry. All right. I'll be in this, I'll be in the grain here. Once I see that some of those gentlemen have moved off, I'll start making my way up onto that tool shed. And then I'll hop my way up into the building and see if I can apprehend this man. You just need to keep them occupied. I won't need long, maybe 15 minutes.
Very well.
All right. Give me a signal when you're finished. Something.
I believe that whatever it is I intend to do will be overtly noticeable.
All right. Well, good luck.
You as well.
All right, Devo. What's the plan?
I'm just trying to look over things and think, because I can't really go many places, because the first idea was to go in the far distance, but I can't sneak past them because I'm fucking in the open and it's daylight.
Yep, it is daylight.
There aren't walls or anything, right? It's just flat.
So this is about as accurate a gauge as you can get. This right over here is mostly open space with a dirt trail leading to the manor itself. There isn't much in the way of cover that you can use to hide yourself from this direction. What there doesn't seem to be any guards on the entrance to the property proper. Like these guys are just at the manor, but there's nobody guarding the entrance. That implies that anybody can come in and request business, because otherwise they would guard the entrance to the manorial grounds and the manor, meaning nobody would be welcome.
And if I'm intelligent enough, I would surmise that their business has to do with the farm fields around them.
Generally speaking, they guard not only the manor, but they make sure that the work is happening. They tend to rotate. If you and him spent at least a good 10 minutes watching to see what their pattern was, and it seemed like these guards would switch this way. They'd patrol at the same time around the building, and then they would take up the post of the other guard on the other side, so that they could cover the building, make sure nobody's there, and then end up in the same place again. It was every 10 minutes they would do this patrol. The building itself, the bottom floor has shutters, which I mean are all closed at the moment. There is the two entrances are guarded at the moment.
What if I do a break-in while this guy also does a break-in, but then take the heat for it and run away without getting caught?
Well, I can't really tell you what the result of that would be. You'd have to do it.
Yeah, I know, I'm just brainstorming shit.
Gotcha.
So there's no walls or anything, so it's either that, go up and ask, like, hey, man, I want to buy some fucking Wheaties, and, like, I don't think that'll take 15 minutes, and if it does, these guys will fucking start to move before the time limit is up. So...
take a look at your inventory, Debo. Take a look at what your character has on him, how he's dressed. Take these things into account, and then try to formulate a plan as best you can based on that. And also look at it from the perspective of a guard. How would
I
you?
mean, if a guard fucking sees him, he's gonna be like, "What the fuck is that guy? Why
Yeah,
is
like,
he armed to the teeth? What the fuck?"
Yeah, so-
Assassin!
I mean, that's what you would do if you were a guard, right?
Probably.
Yeah, there you go. I want to buy some grain, says the fucking Nosferatu vampire in the black hood with the double poison dripping daggers.
He'd probably be like, "I'm looking for work with the head of the house."
To quote Brian, my god, my character does not look like a fucking chef. He looks like a fucking vampire with a chef's hat on.
But even then, like, if the head of the house is this guy we're supposed to find, then like that'll just conflict with this guy's plan.
I mean, think of a worst case. Let's say you walk up. What do you think's going to happen? You have to have a level of like predictive ability. You can't tell the future.
Well, they're gonna
but,
just
like,
be like, "What do you want? Like, what do you want? What are you here for?"
Yep.
And then you go, "I'm here for work." Okay. Well, we're not hiring right now. Fuck off. Or, well, we're hiring. Maybe you look pretty armed. Might want to talk to you. Blah 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 blah. But again, that's not 15 minutes.
I mean, how you approach the situation depends on you. I'm just saying be conscious of how you're dressed and what you have on you, because that determines how the guards will, intercept your message. If you want to say I'm looking for work, I'm a mercenary or whatever, then dressing the way you do makes more sense than I want to buy some grain, lol, I'm a farmer and you're armed and your fucking teeth to the armed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like,
No, I'm just thinking if there's a way to get around to this side without being detected.
let's see. So draw it out for me. Like where? So you want?
Like he would go outside of the grounds, probably go like sneak around all the way around, fucking get to there.
There. So I know this isn't the complete picture, but these fields do extend a little bit further down. So
I just want to like try and find an optimal field within these guys' line of vision that they'll see like being on fire and be like, "Oh fuck," and like run to put it out.
Yeah, you would have to essentially travel a little bit further down the field and pick an area like closer to the entrance. Like TLDR, the further away you can drag them from the building, the better. More importantly, he said distract them, which means their attention just has to be on you, implying he can handle the stealth so long as they don't like randomly look over.
Well, yeah, exactly. I don't think I can hold their attention for fucking as long as he needs. Maybe, but they'd end up having to go inside and like get whoever the fuck is in charge, presumably, if they didn't tell him to fuck off outright. So it's like it's either do the fucking field sabotage shit or walk up and like acid trucks my way to fucking victory, and I don't like that because then they know who I am.
Well, do you have
At the moment, these guards have no fucking clue who I am, that I exist, and I like to keep it that way.
Cool. Go over every possible plan that your character could justifiably have that would minimize damage. When in doubt, just play your character for better or worse. What would Atticus do? Not how does Debo create the best plan ever that Debo would do. What would Atticus do in this situation? How has he dealt with similar situations before?
Well, that's why he's gonna fucking light the fields on fire, because I figure that's like an Imperium thing. Lamau, fire is cool.
Well, I mean,
and it's also like a valid war tactic. Like he does have tactics.
You there. The fuck you want? Let me in. Ah, yeah? Or what? Or I'll kill you. That's shit.
Arn. If you want to set the fields on fire, I'm just going to ask, do you have anything to start a fire?
Yeah, I got like the basic adventure stuff from Prime, or at least it was on my
Flint and Tinder? Yeah, you'd have to find a place that is away from workers, as the sound might attract somebody. But for the most part, like, that's not an impossible plan. It could work.
Yeah, I think that's the best I got, because otherwise it'll either end up violent or like they'll know who he is. He wants to just set the fire, then fucking just confirm the guards. You're like, oh fuck, and then he'll just try and dip out. ideally.
Okay.
Because he wants to create like a big enough window for this guy, because he knows how fucking annoying it is to try and sneak into a place. So he's like, okay, well, shit, there are no windows on the sides here, are there?
There are shutters. Yes, it's just they're closed. Like only the one set of windows is open, like the bounty hunter said, and it was probably the room he was in because he mentioned it was particularly hot and uncomfortable. It's dry heat.
So like the only other thing is, oh, the police open up, fucking bust through the shutters and just cause chaos inside the lower floor.
You idiot! Get on the fuck around!
Yeah, literally that, and then just like try to jump out the other side. But that's a fucking insane plan, dude.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's always a plan, even if it's like usually not the best plan.
That's like the plan I would do if I was still playing fucking Einar.
2 kids gone die tonight.
You'd be like, oh, you want me to distract? Okay. Punches a fucking hole through the shutters, dives in. Oh, what the fuck is that?
Evo, you better get ready to put your disgusting native lips on my fucking phallus because I invented the recall skill. And this is a situation where you can roll the recall skill, which assists the character in seeing obvious solutions they may be oblivious to or realize details / connections that they had already discovered.
Oh, yeah, I got a 1. Fuck you. It's still 11, though.
I mean, do you beat 10?
Yeah.
Cool. Have you considered maybe approaching one of the workers from outside, like the line of sight of the guards, and maybe like bribing some of them to like draw them away?
Yes, but also the peasants could betray me, and I don't trust peasants.
I mean, sure. So you need to make sure that if they have that thought in their head, that you'll very, very gladly show them the consequence in the form of a giant musket on your fucking back. But more importantly, how much money do you think they make?
Not much. That they do it for 5 silver.
Sure, that's decent amount. That's a good meal and some fucking ale and probably a room in some places.
Yeah. I mean, he'll try to do it like away from the guards. Obviously, so he's gonna try and head towards where I said.
Yep.
But if he encounters like a fucking worker like off on their own, he'll walk up and fuck. How do you even approach someone like, hey man, I'm gonna fucking kill you?
Probably not like that.
What the bloody hell are you doing here?
Hey man, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah, you probably walk up and be like, hey, you, all quiet, like, right?
Sure.
Unless he immediately
however you want to approach them.
Sure. Atticus goes towards the far edge, like of the.
Oh, here?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're taking the long way around. Just give me a stealth check. I'm going to assume that you're trying to stick to the grainy fields.
Yeah, as best you can.
All right, so that's +2 to your stealth check, plus
Nice.
whatever you want.
So it's still -1 because of armor, but it's
Okay.
9.
9. Okay. I will just.
Hang on, I gotta add all my shit.
I'll just roll casually for the guards. I mean, I don't think they'll fucking.
It's like 23.
Yeah, no. You successfully managed to kind of utilize the environment and what little cover there might be to your advantage. You very quickly dart in and out between the fields and make the most optimal use of the ripened grain. So you wanted to get here?
Yeah.
Okay. You are currently and have successfully managed to get where do you want to be here? In this area somewhere. Place yourself. There?
Like
Okay.
yeah.
Yep. There are 2 workers, one of which is going the opposite direction of you shearing grain. The other seems to be clearing out some weeds nearby.
This guy's the one clearing weeds?
Yes. The one closest to you is clearing weeds. The guy at the other end is kind of shearing in an upward pattern. It stands to reason that he's going to meet up with the guy on the other side of this grain, and they'll have completed their section and move on to the next one.
All right, Atticus will slowly approach, try not to spook him, and be like, hey, you.
The The worker, tall, kind of lanky man with sandy brown hair and green eyes, sullen cheeks, kind of turns to regard you. What?
He holds his hands up to indicate that he's not a threat, and like slowly closes the distance to converse.
The man kind of takes note of your armaments and your appearance, and he seems a bit
Says,
suspicious.
I have a job for you.
What's that then?
I could pay you and your friend over there. He nudges to the guy hanging over the field to pull those guards away from the front door.
How much?
Thinks about it. I can give you 5 silver each.
That's a day's work. Thinks about it. How about you make that 10? 2 days' work.
Considers it, and then just nods. Seems fair to him, because, peasants be peasants.
So you 10 each just to bring them away from that door.
That is correct.
I'd say you got a deal, mister. He holds out his hands for the payment. Yep. And then he kind of sticks close to you to show that he's not trying to pull anything. And he walks up toward his friend. Jared, what are you doing? Get back to work, you lazy slob. Hey, Marcus. Hey, you see him? He's gonna give us 10 silver each. 2 days' work. To go and just drag those mercenaries away from that door. 2 days' work for that? Yeah. One of them kind of looks at the other. All right. They just make something up about the wolves again. Took 2 of them last time. All right. Here's your 10. They both kind of give you a look and they smirk. Whatever you're gonna do, mister, you better leave this place.
Yep. He nods. Thank you for your assistance, gentlemen.
All right. They give you maybe about 15 seconds to kind of get as far away as you can until you hear, "Ah! The wolves! The wolves! They're back!"
Yep. Atticus is already fucking trying to creep his way on out of there.
Yep. You see the 2 guards stirred from their borderline slumber, and they both immediately begin rushing over. And given that that's likely the signal, the bounty hunter makes his move. He tosses the grappling rope up onto the tool shack and uses it to very quickly climb up on top with a certain level of skill and quickness that betrays his experience in this field. He then transfers the grapple over to the roof of the manorial estate, and in maybe about 20 to 30 seconds or less, he manages to safely and quickly pull himself up to the top, bringing the rope up and under his arm. He then carefully stalks across the roof, strange crossbow in hand, and what appears to be a flanged mace in the other. He then, using this same grapple, finds the chimney and cinches the rope around it, tossing it over the side to the left-hand side of the shutters to cover himself as best as possible. He then slips inside the building and disappears. Devo, how long do you intend to wait here?
The bounty hunter succeeded.
It seems like he got in.
He's inside. So
Yeah,
I'll go and try and if I wasn't spotted, I'll try and wait for him where his exit point would be, in the fields out of sight.
Yep. The 2 guards have entirely disappeared over the hills into the grain, following the 2 workers that you paid off. Within about 5 minutes or so, the bounty hunter comes out with a bound and gagged middle-aged gentleman in his sleeping trousers. He he tugs him along with some strong rope, very skillfully used to hog tie his quarry, and he occasionally beats him when he feels like he's getting out of line. The man hops and hobbles behind the bounty hunter, and eventually he meets you back where you were. The elderly man, who now sports what appears to be a broken nose, a bruised face, and if his limp arm is any indication of a sprained or broken arm, kind of whines pathetically as he's tugged and abused on the way back. The bounty hunter looks at you. Well, we got him. We were lucky in that he was sleeping. Pissed himself too. He grins a bit.
Of course
Right.
he did.
Let's get him to the wagon and be done with this. You did
Very
good.
well.
I was expecting you to let your imperial zeal get the better of you, but seems like you're smarter than you look.
Yes, well, I haven't been home for some time. Perhaps this land is starting to affect me.
Maybe. Or perhaps you just decided that burning everything wasn't the best solution if money was to be made.
Perhaps. My companion will be meeting us by the carriage as well.
Yep, he begins to usher you and the newly captured merchant on the way.
Yep.
He stretches out a bit and lets out a relieved sigh. Ugh. You know, I won't lie. I ain't much of a people person, but I know some level of desperation when I see it, and Gods be blessed, you seem to have plenty of it. Whew. You made that a lot easier for me. Would have had to do that a different way, and not about messy. See, those guards, they have family, and well, I'm many things, but I ain't a murderer without cause.
I'm sure they would have given you plenty of cause.
Probably. Don't much like the idea of killing a man for doing his job, but it's happened. Alright, let's go meet up with my diligent farmhand and get out of this place.
Yep, he agrees and continues on.
Alright. He introduces himself to you on the way back. Right. I didn't give you my name, did I?
You did not?
Morgan Black. That's what they call me. Bounty hunting for...
Is it
10
with
years.
an E? Let me tell you. Is it an E? Does he have the faggoty E name?
No, it's just regular.
Oh, thank fucking God.
Yeah. Been bounty hunting for nigh on 10 years since I was a lad. Had to save up quite a bit to get the equipment I needed, but we've made it good for ourselves. I get to travel, meet all sorts of interesting folks, and arrest them, bring them in.
Yes.
I mean, the alternative was being a carpenter, a farmer, a blacksmith, or a sketch artist. Kind of laughs a bit and gives you a wink.
Had to kiss her main stone
Dude.
face. I just appreciates the sentiment and, agrees. He says, I am a soldier. Had to kiss Caecilius.
Got a background in bloodshed. Seen from the Imperium, storied history, I'll bet.
Yes, quite storied.
Yeah,
He doesn't say this particularly boastful, just like full-on factual.
matter of factly. Look, I'm always looking for folks with talent to help me with this business. It's always better to do things in a group, and I'll be honest with you. My claim to fame, I staked on contracts that were reasonable. Any man could take those and eke out a decent living, but I want more. I want to see different places, different sites, and take on more complicated criminals, as it were. What do you say that maybe I can get you and your friend on board? I mean, your friend would honestly be a tag-along, but if you're inseparable, well, we might be able to work something out.
Considers it. Well, I would not be against working together, although at the moment I am assisting you solely for the financial compensation that is awaiting me at Ulbrich. I, and by extension my traveling companion, are seeking out a quarry already who is particularly fearsome. The stories that I've heard of this man, 7 men all cut down.
Yeah, it's good with the blade. It's nothing new to me. See, part of the challenge of doing this job is finding a way around particularly skilled folks. And,
Nods.
Well, I'm not in the habit of challenging most men that have a history of swordsmanship to duels, as it were. We don't fight fair in my trade.
How much were we getting paid for Gerard again? I totally forgot. The contract said I think it was like just a couple gold.
10 gold ahead of anyone who comes back.
Yep.
That does not include me.
Yep. 10 gold ahead for anybody that comes back that was in the original contract.
Yeah, so literally just Atticus. Shit.
Yep. It's a decent amount of money.
Yeah, yeah. Atticus will listen and nod. Well,
yeah. Look, I'll make you a proposition. I know I said that I would give you half, and I intend to fulfill my part of the bargain. I wish to keep it that way. But I'll do you one better. You let me keep the bounty in its entirety, and I'll help you find your, what's his name? Gerald?
Gerard.
All right.
Pompous ass last name.
Gerard de Lavaine.
De Lavaine, yeah. The most hated man in the universe.
Yeah, Gerard de Lavaine.
You let me keep the entirety of the 2 gold bounty, and I'll help you find your men. And you know what? I won't even charge you. Favor for a favor. What do you say?
Considers it and then nods and extends his hand out to shake it. While shaking it, says, I agree to this on one condition, that I am fairly compensated the 10 silver that I had to bribe those peasants with. That is all I wish out of this bounty.
He thinks about it for a couple seconds and then goes, why don't you humor me for a moment and let that be your act of good faith?
Atticus just nods. Very well.
Like you, I'm a man of my word, and I intend to pay you back. And who knows? I might be out more coin by the end of your journey than I would be on mine.
Yep, he nods. Seems acceptable to me.
All right. Let's take this distinguished gentleman to Uldrick, and, well, it's going to be a long journey. But, well, maybe we'll get lucky on the way and find additional work. There's one thing I can tell you is I've had my eye on several long-standing contracts throughout Acretia and a couple in the Imperium. But the travel is long and expensive. Well, targets are difficult.
Well, if they happen in the path, I do not mind assisting you with them.
I've one in particular in mind that should we get out of this unique situation with your friend, former compatriot. What is this Gerard to you, anyway?
He's the man that I have spent months traveling after for no apparent good reason beyond a contractual obligation. And all I hear about this man is that he's a complete fucking asshole. So, that is who he is to me.
Understandable. Well, tell me something. How would you like to take a risk in life and retire comfortably in a far-off land with more women and riches than you could ever possibly imagine?
Well, I would say what makes that proposal any different from the local drunks down at the inn?
Nothing. And like with them, you have to be willing to take that risk. I know I am, because what we're doing right now... He hits his his poor unfortunate captive. What we're doing right now is taking that risk for much less and to continue that cycle. But for me, I want more and I want better. There is one particular target I'm looking for.
Who?
And fortunately, he is in Acretia somewhere. He's a killer. Famed, in fact.
The Moonlight Barber?
He's, a bit further east. They say he, well, do you want the details?
Yes, I would prefer the details.
Right, well, I'll keep it as succinct as possible. They say he tends to frequent Xanthias, south of Uldric, and has for many years without ever being caught. They call him the Fell Blade. There have been many men that have attempted to capture him, but all have fallen short or fallen victim. The price on his head is quite significant. Any man who brings him in will yield themselves 20 gold. Split between the two of us, that's 10 each. On top of the prestige that would come from bringing in someone that has evaded the law and other bounty hunters for such a long time.
Nods.
Now,
I don't think my character would know anything about this shit, right? He doesn't have local knowledge.
yep. He basically, the information that he gives you is this. Based on what he has managed to dredge up throughout his journey and time spent in Acretia, the Fell Blade is described as a very thin, long, thinly haired elf with strangely pointed features and incredibly pale skin. He has a sinister smile across his face at almost all times, and his eyes are a strange, very bright, almost animalistic green. He wears fairly ragged clothing, but based on the reports, if they are to be believed, he is reputed to be incredibly fast, highly skilled with all sorts of weaponry, and some even say is a ghost. His ability to utilize the shadows and the environment is quite impressive. However, he only comes out at night.
There must be a place where he lays his head. But also, I don't want to kill Lucky or Grimshade.
What?
It's just Lucky or Grimshade, bro.
I'm pretty sure Lockyer Grimshade doesn't have an alias. He is just the great and mighty Lockyer Grimshade.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
If we were fighting Lockyer Grimshade, we are fucked.
Yeah. Also, I don't tend to like put my player characters against my players. It just doesn't look good, even if you guys like trusted to be like fair and unbiased.
I mean, I wouldn't want to do it anyway, bro. He can regenerate.
Yeah, he's not a he would not be an easy fight.
I'd be like, oh, you want me to capture Lucky or Grimshade? I want you to lick the dirtiest underside of my balls.
To be completely fair, he is an actual bounty that's out there. If you can find like right advertisement for it, he is a bounty.
Because he's fucking like, no shit, right? Like, of course he has a bounty.
Yeah. There have been 7 assassins that have collected on his bounty, and he came back every time. And then those assassins basically got fucking comeuppance because their employers thought they dicked them.
And in a really fucked way, we are in a much greater position to capture him than any other group in history.
Yeah, literally every single time Lockyer has been assassinated, it's been successful. Except he regenerates and they don't know that. Like, he got stabbed to death in his sleep like 5 times. And like openly lynched in the middle of a fucking street. But regeneration OP. What are you gonna do?
Lockier's a faggot. Anyway, yeah, my character would say, interesting.
This is an entirely different character.
Yeah, this guy sounds like he's a complete nigger to fight, to be honest.
He sounds like a vampire elf.
Yeah, something like that. Shit.
He then goes, there are other contracts for those that are a bit more adventurous. That's merely one of them I've been looking into. Out of pocket, of course. The next one is far more lucrative. Tell me something. You're from the Imperium, right?
Yes, correct.
You ever noticed on most of your maps there's one particular island that doesn't seem to have much in the way of a label or name? It just seems to be outlined as part of the Imperium unofficially, but with no real capitals, villages, nothing that is there. Are you familiar with the Fog Isles?
Is he? No, I don't think he is.
Well,
he noticed that there be a missing label on a map.
Yeah, there seems to be, and maybe my calling in life wasn't as a bounty hunter. Maybe I should have been a goddamn toll collector. But apparently, the governor of that particular island has refused to, or hasn't been paying his dues to the Imperium, and they're offering a hefty amount of coin to the person that brings him in. Something in the neighborhood of about 100 gold. Now,
what the fuck?
You and I both know that if we were to get our hands on that kind of money, we'd never have to do this again.
Nods.
And that is a risk I would be willing to take with the right group.
I would be willing, especially in service of the Imperium.
Well, that definitely sounds more risky, as we would be isolated from the Imperium and its resources and the people who could help us. We'd be on our own. And while I'm sure you're competent, there have been several groups that have attempted to bring this man in, up to and including, and I don't know if you know who they are, the Red Worm Brigade had attempted not but 4 years ago, and only 2 of their members made it back. Do you have any unusual knowledge, or Imperial do you have any unusual knowledge that history?
I don't have unusual knowledge, magic, and monsters.
Okay. Oh no, that would be never mind. That would be ancient knowledge. Fuck, I'm trying to figure it away. Okay. He basically gives you the rundown. Well, I'll keep it short. These men, and I don't know if this is true or not, they are rumored to have accompanied some fairly significant folks years ago in the slaying of the last dragon in our world. At least that's what they said. And they did not come back. Again, rumors. I can imagine that's just what they talk themselves up as, to sell their services to the highest bidder. Smart.
This is the Isle of Fog. That's what he called it, the Isle of Fog.
That's what he called it. The Fog Isles.
Oh my god, I want to go find Spoon's corpse.
In any case, they didn't return. Now I really need to think about how I pitch my own services, because some of the contracts they've been getting are impressive. Thing is that they were equipped for most of them. Between you and me, I would rather go for a contract. I want to be done with this business and get nice and fat. Live somewhere nice, maybe in Toulouse. Sit back with wine. Have beautiful women feed me olives and sing me songs and, well, you know, bear my children and whatnot, but you get it.
I do.
So, are you willing to come with me? Once we, of course, finish up your business. That was the deal.
Consider it, and then he'd nod. Yes, I would be willing.
Shake on it?
Yep, he shakes on it.
Yep, he shakes on it and then goes, good. It's always nice to find some competent folks. As for your friend, what does he do again?
Deceptively competent. He'd consider it. It is not my place to say what he does, but you may take my word that I would not be traveling with him if he was not competent.
Well, you came in good faith, so benefit of the doubt where it's granted. Ah, we're at the wagon. Is he still there? Yes, he is. This is why we pay people. All right, kid, you can leave. Here's the rest of your silver. Be on your way. Thank you. The kid kind of takes the 2 or 3 silver that Morgan tosses him and gives him a big toothy smile, and then is on his way. Spoon, your character was meeting Debo's character where?
At the gate.
Okay.
Yeah, outside the gate, yeah.
All right. He Morgan looks at you for a second. Oh, right. Are you gonna go get your companion?
Nod and depart to go get Randy.
Randy. All right.
Go get Randy.
Right. Well, I'll be waiting for you. I'm gonna make sure our friend is comfortable. Maybe get some information out of him, and it'll be a good time, won't it?
Of course. Good hospitality is always important, he says as he walks off to go find Randall.
Yeah. Morgan kind of flicks the blood from his knuckles and goes, agreed. It was always good at offering hospitality, especially to people that have creative ways of talking to me while hogtied. Ain't that right, Edward? Yep. All right. You leave Morgan, his trusty donkey, his wagon, and poor goddamn Edward in the cart. Eventually, you meet up with Randall at the agreed location. And I'm gonna piss real quick, so don't say shit till I get back, faggot.
Yeah.
Spoon, give me a magic sense check, and roll your disaster die. It is approaching evening. It's starting to get dark out. 6. All you have to do is just beat a 10. Got it. Roll a disaster die on the side. Hopefully nothing shitty happens. Yep, you're good. Okay.
14.
Yep. You sense a rather large and sudden flicker vibrate through the seams of reality. It's very brief. And then another much larger sensation, much like the first, and yet an order of magnitude bigger. It's a few minutes from your position over some of the nearby hills.
Huh? Spoon sees this. Do I see it?
Magic.
No, he feels it. You haven't gotten to him just yet. You're going to meet up with him.
Oh,
Yep. What do you do, Spoon? Do you wish to do anything?
Uh, hmm. Has my character ever had a precedent for what this would be before?
Not really. No, nothing that comes to mind. It could be an anomaly, which are fairly rare. A disturbance would require some sort of spell having been cast.
That is
And
peculiar.
and if and if what you know of at least how your magic functions is when you cast spells, the general level of potency is reflected by whatever sensation you have attuned yourself to as a method of recognizing that magic is happening. It's different for most people. Some people get vibrations, some people get chills, some people get headaches. It really just depends on the mage. Sometimes they get all of them. What you do know is that whatever this is over some of the nearby hills, probably within a couple minutes of your position, and seems to be slowly fading.
Huh. Okay, so I'm assuming if it's like a couple minutes away, then I'd still be within like visibility of the gate, right?
You would basically be crossing over the hills, and you do not have direct line of sight the direction this is coming from. You can see like some of the taller buildings and the walls from down below, but you can't see the gate. It's off the beaten trail. Or the cobbled roads, as Covenal is fortunate enough to have. You're starting to go more into the brush and the hills and the plains. Dry plains.
Okay, well, mana cost aside, it wouldn't be that hard to find Atticus again, so my curiosity will get the better of me and I'll take a look.
Okay. Yeah, you do so. You begin to approach a rocky outcropping in one of the fields. And as you get closer, you realize that this is kind of almost a small barrow with an entrance that leads downward somewhat. And the closer you get, the more you realize that this is some sort of crypt, some sort of family graveyard, mausoleum. Although it's distinctly out of place. It stands on its own without any other graves around it, and almost looks as though it's been left in rather shabby condition.
go explore the mausoleum, coward. I'm sure it'll be fine.
I'm assuming the mausoleum is where all this magical nonsense is happening.
Whatever it is, it's definitely within this area.
We'll continue to tread down the way.
You're gonna go inside?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you breathe in the dank crypt air and pinch your nostrils.
Dang, it's just me sitting in there, fucking smoking a blunt.
Fuck off, nigger.
Yo, Spoon, what up?
The heat.
God damn it, Einar.
The heat combined with the closeness of the air in this place would be suffocating, were it not for your curiosity. Continue down some haphazard steps, careful not to trip as they haven't been maintained clearly in some time.
I would like to make a census check to make sure
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like step on anything heinous or that this family crypt isn't trapped for some stupid fucking reason.
Sure, yeah.
18.
Okay, 18. There is nobody else buried here, as you occasionally use your hands to guide yourself in this dark place. You don't seem to feel anything that matches caskets or other burial spots. However, from the sky, or at least from the top of the mausoleum, due to age and neglect, light seeps in from above through the cracks and highlights a sarcophagus at the center. It is shut and sealed. By now, the magic has faded somewhat and has become so small and so tiny as to be almost insignificant. Emanates from that casket.
Huh.
You can see something inscribed on the side, although it's obscured by dirt kind of caked across it. Sorry.
I'll rub off the dirt and see if I can read it.
Yeah, you take a couple seconds to kind of brush away the smear and focus to the best of your ability using what little light comes in from this place to form words. And what you read is both frightening and confusing. The sarcophagus, or grave, or casket rather, tomb, says, "Here lies Randall Morrows."
My
You are
character-
awoken. You are awoken from your dream by the sound of Atticus calling you.
Hello.
I assume this is like a calls for a lead up scene, just like where you see me like in a daze in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, you're either half kind of nodding off or daydreaming, but make no mistake, that felt about as real as it could. Go ahead, gentlemen. You may interact.
Ah, Randall. Excellent.
Huh.
He looks at him. Randall.
What?
Are
Excuse-
you well?
I can only assume it is the creature that continues to vex me.
Yes. What happened?
Seemingly at random, I noticed I was on a cobbled road, and that I assume he's with the mercenary or the bounty hunter.
He just came to get Randall and to bring him back to the wagon.
Yeah, he's currently with the captive and at the wagon, educating him.
Yeah, my character looks left and right as if he's like trying to avoid saying this in the vicinity of anyone who would potentially persecute him for saying such bullshit. It was as if I was in a dream. I sensed peculiar magic over a hill, and I followed it to what looked like a family mausoleum. Was almost compelled to walk inside, and followed it to a crypt. It was old and matted, and there was a headstone on it. I rubbed the dirt away on it, and etched upon the headstone was my name.
Well, I can tell you that you are at the very least not going insane. That sounds similar to what I experienced within the castle, although It is concerning that it is happening out here.
And with increasing frequency.
Yes, incredibly concerning.
Clearly Debo pulling a Dr. Phil. Okay, Mr. Bale, I'm going to need you to just leave Randall alone. Fucking hell, dude.
I'm gonna need you to leave Randall alone, Mr. Malleus Bale, or I'm going to have to send you to the ranch.
No bully, please.
Ooh. Oh,
Well,
my character
on the bright
considers-
side,
Yep. You go ahead.
Right. well, on the bright side, it's not the other possibility it could have been.
Yes, at the very least. I have secured our passage from this place, so at the very least we can continue on and get as far away from that place as possible, although it doesn't sound as if we will be unharassed in our journey. It would be best to find an expert, although in these lands, I'm not sure. The only experts that I'm aware of reside back in the Imperium.
In the expert, as far as I know, I'm one of the only experts around what happens in the dark. But I'll not deprive a scholar's attempts to study out whatever these things are.
Nods. There is the matter, of course, of the book being utterly illegible unless, of course, you speak Elvish.
I must say that is not something that my tutors thought was particularly beneficial. More's the pity.
Yes, well, surely somebody on our path will. It is a matter of if they're trustworthy or not.
Mayhap we'll run into an elf?
Perhaps there was one supposed bounty set for an elf, but, well, that is no lead at all.
My character sniggers. Mayhap we may even run into an elf who does not try to kill us immediately.
Yes, wouldn't that be nice? Yep, and then he'd lead your boy off.
Before you eventually reunite with your good friend Morgan, you encounter a teenage youth standing in the middle of the beaten trail, staring far ahead.
Is this the same kid for the farmhand?
No, it's a different kid. He doesn't look like he's from Acretia proper, or at least not ancestrally. He's got bright red hair, pale skin, freckles, green eyes. It's relatively short and lanky, and dressed as peasantry would be. Cotton tunic, brown kind of tightly knit leather pants, and some leather boots with a leather cap on. He kind of looks straight ahead at the both of you. Then he beckons you forward in a robotic fashion.
My character places his hand on the spear because he's holding it, and he just like approaches slightly warily because creepy kids are fucking creepy, and he's like, "Hey kid, you should head home."
The kid looks at you for a moment, and his head twitches, and his neck cracks to the side unnaturally. His entire body convulses.
Don't like that.
The kid opens his mouth to speak, and it is ethereal and otherworldly.
I would like
Debo.
to detect magic.
And Spoon, before you do your gay shit, give me a DC, say 15 versus terror,
Oh, that's not happening. Let's go.
I believe.
No.
Fuck. What do we got, boys?
Yep, I made it by 1.
Nice. Devo, you succeed. Spoon,
I'm
roll
assuming
a 1D.
terror is courage.
Yes. Terror and
8.
fear are both courage. All right. Yeah, roll a D4, Spoon, and just you're kind of terrified for that many rounds. Whatever you get.
4.
All right, you are for about a solid, like, I'm gonna say 12 seconds. You're just frozen in place. I would also say that you gain point of insanity. Debo, you succeed your check. You don't gain anything, and you can act as you see fit. The voice that leaves the mouth of this child is almost entirely not their own, and more importantly, not exactly human and not exactly male. It's crackly and grating.
You will return what you have stolen.
It gurgles and almost spits in a disgusting manner. The child's body continues to convulse, and you can see before your eyes the skin begin to rot and peel away at a rapid rate. Every word that leaves the child's mouth causes his body to descend further into rapid decay. The arm that had been pointed outward at you begins to disintegrate down to the bone.
You will return what you have stolen, thieves.
I hate to break it to her, but she's not getting that fucking vial of blood back.
The child, very slowly shambles forward as its body decomposes, breaks down, and falls apart in front of your eyes.
Death. Death and suffering. A curse upon you both.
Atticus just sort of stares at this. You know, he's not completely immune to terror. He's fucking shook. It's
You
just-
succeeded your check. That means you get to retain control of your character. How they act, that's up to you.
Yeah, he's still like, what the fuck? But at the same time, he's like, God damn it. And then he just starts walking. Yeah.
You see several long, black, wispy, tentacle-like streams of smoke exit the body of the child and evaporate into thin air as his body crumbles entirely to dust, and then from dust into nothing.
Oh, it's always fucking something.
Okay,
Atticus mutters to himself mutteringly.
Debo and Spoon, you get no check against this. I would like you to write down. Oh shit. I would like you to write down. Oh shit. What did I have? Hold on. I'm gonna find it. Fuck. I had it just a second ago. Write down the death tithe under your character flaws. And
What is that?
It will be under your character flaws. It is called the death tithe, and do not define it. This is something you'll have to figure out over the course of the game.
I mean, it's pretty fucking self-explanatory, Brian. All I gotta say is your knicker.
Him. Randall had frozen up entirely during the encounter. However, Spoon, there is one thing I will let you do as your character regains his senses. You can use magic sense now, should you wish to do so, at whatever time you think he would. Okay, give me a disaster die roll real quick. Okay, good. All right. Spoon, you detect a very real, palpable, and ominous shroud hanging over both you and Atticus. And in your mind, though this is not your purview, the sort of magic that this is attached to is quite obvious. This is a form of magic that deals heavily in death and souls. You and you and Atticus, as far as you can tell, have some sort of lingering hex over you both. And it grows stronger the closer you both are. More importantly, you can see the links between you, Atticus, and something in Atticus's backpack.
Shit. My character utters a curse.
What is it?
It would appear my character shakily takes his left hand into his face as if to wipe some sweat off of his brow, and then comb through his hair once again. It appears that magician that you left in Constantia wishes to leave us a gift.
Elias.
What? Oh,
Wait, what did you
right.
say, Spoon? Sorry.
Wait, no, Atticus was there. Yeah. The
The
that
sorceress.
The witch appears to have hexed us to the book in some way.
Of course it did.
The words uttered by the corpse were simple and difficult to forget. Return what you have stolen.
My character leans against his quarterstaff and just sort of bemoans his fate. Maybe I should have just stayed in the Dark Quarter.
Freedom.
Alright. Well, I'm not going to get rid of this bemoaning our fates. Where to next, Atticus?
The carriage and on the road as quickly as possible. I am not knowledgeable in. Actually, I am. Give me unusual knowledge magic, little bitch.
Sure. Based on what Randall says he's found,
I also have magical.
you
unusual
both
knowledge magic.
you both get this. Based on what Randall had said, you can determine that someone or something decidedly monstrous yet somehow feminine question mark has laid some sort of hex upon you both and tethered it to the book that you both carry. With what limited research you've done on curses specifically, usually they have conditions. They're attached to something or someone or some set of goals or arbitrary.
This one's pretty obvious. Return the fucking book, faggot.
Yep, has to be fulfilled, usually to lift it. There are curses that are much more cruel and simply last forever. However, tethering curses tend to be breakable, and the easiest way by doing it to do it is to fulfill whatever task is set before you. Another thing that you'll know is that unlike regular curses, tethering curses tend to have effects that potentially grow in severity if certain hidden conditions are met. What those are have to be determined either through life experience or research. But tethering curses tend to be reliant on a certain number of variables that are constant, and they always operate based on which of those variables is there, present, and actively in existence, not altered, destroyed, or otherwise. So it seems like your fate, through some sort of hex, through that unfortunate soul, your fate is now directly tied to that book more than anything else. Before it was an option. Now it's a life. It may be life and death. Randall has basically described. Did you describe, Spoon, like the sort of sensation you got from the hex?
I got a sensation from the hex.
Yeah, like
Other
what
than,
type
like,
of...
it was a thing that was hanging over us?
Yeah, like did you describe what kind of magic it is and what it tends to affect and do, even if you don't have specific knowledge on it? And... Okay. And based on what Randall has described to you, the sort of magic that was likely used deals heavily in death and souls, which is highly, highly dangerous and usually fairly taboo anywhere, even where magic is concerned. So, in essence, it's safe to assume that you have a hidden time limit to fulfill whatever this is, or consequences will start becoming very apparent, either to you, Randall, or the world around you. But there's no way to tell for sure without finding out or doing the research. That is what you know. Finding specific curse names and conditions will require you to actually find somebody who can basically break it down. This is what your unusual magic knowledge will tell you. Both of you.
Oh boy. Something that sounds like it's fucking expensive. Just what we needed right now.
It's also safe to assume that because a proxy was needed to cast this on you, that whoever did it is incredibly far away. And more importantly, whatever was cast on you was very, very potent and very powerful to not only reach the distance, even through the proxy, but to have the effectiveness it currently does. So somebody very powerful and very angry that you took their belongings is now much more aware than they had been prior. And whoever they are, they have finally scrounged up the means to find you. It had taken some time, but they have found you. And they know where you are. Know that much, if Randall's earlier freakout hadn't been hint enough. That is what you know, both of you.
Goody.
And what you can assume.
All right, Brian. Did you want to end the game here before Debo had to go?
Yeah, I think this is a good spot. We'll assume that you guys meet up with Morgan. The next game, you before we get to the travel and the memes that'll show up. this is where you guys are at the moment. I'll give you guys 3 experience points. Bank up. Yeah, this is where we're at. What do you guys think?
It's fun.
I don't think I surprised either of you. I think you guys knew some comeuppance was going to happen eventually.
My character's probably pissed that he's getting comeuppance for something he technically never did, but yeah.
Yeah, fuck you, Franco.
Guilty by association. Straight up. So I'm gonna read.
Fucking Franco!
All it took was
Scream.
one dead party member with some level of curiosity to pick something up. And that's where we're at. I'll be honest with you. You guys have gone through your characters, even Randall, who's the newest character. You guys have gone through quite a bit. And what's really fucking funny is that none of this is essentially new. This is all just like recurring consequences from past decisions in bad places.
And now my character is essentially being saddled with this responsibility. It's like, well, now I need to fucking pick. Do I go kill the bitch who cursed me? Or do I try getting rid of this fucking demon first? Oh man. Decisions. And no one's gonna thank me for a fucking iota of any of this.
No, the worst part, honestly, like the whole demon thing, there's no curse on you, at least that you can tell, that's been laid by any demon.
As far as we can tell, it's just following and fucking with us.
Dude, it's just literally Malleus Bay like, Lamau, you guys are fucking dumb. I'm gonna watch this.
And you know what? We're probably the fucking best thing he's watched in years.
I mean, yeah, all he had before
Two
was
mortals
Synth
somehow
Lamau.
getting themselves embroiled with a multi-magician bullshit shitfest train wreck.
Yeah, all he had before was Synthbar Spoon. I think we're the fucking greatest thing he's ever seen.
Wow, you even invoked the curse word. We're totally fucked next session.
Yeah, he existed before I played him last time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Wait till you see.
Mr. Bale, I'm gonna need you to go to the ranch.
Yeah, wait till you meet the other 2 demons of the trifecta. But that's not a
I feel like
that happens.
I feel like that's a thing. Is like, do we have to?
No, you don't have to. There's 3 lore-wise demons, and these are just unique in their own circumstance. But there's hundreds of thousands. But there's Malleus, Malcaeus, and Melinthus, and they're all different somehow, and they're basically 3 feuding demons, always competing for something. But you've only encountered one of them, and just because he's here doesn't mean the other 2 are guaranteed to follow. So.
Yep.
I'm just gonna become fucking Trevor Belmont and slay Dracula.
What is a man but a miserable pile of experience points?
What is a man but a miserable pile of Spoon's cursed, dead, and or sad? Fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, if you guys started a completely fresh game with no connections to Franco or anything remotely in Lakeshore, it'd be an entirely different circumstance.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, because Debo's character has survived for so long, and because some of the consequences that would have usually been passed on to Franco are now basically his burden, well, anything that had been attached to Franco is now attached to Debo's character, who held on to the book and who took it upon himself to essentially have that responsibility. And now we get to see where that goes. But yeah, things are.
Obviously, Brian, I just go back to the swamp, I put the book back, and then I just take it immediately.
Yes, and then the pissed off swamp hag doesn't do anything to us at all. Especially with her shard back in her possession.
I want to know why she has it. We don't even know. We don't even know if we're doing the right thing, man.
I mean, I could only assume that the swamp hag has and wants it for, like, reasons of doing dumb death magic bullshit, which the shard is kind of attuned to.
I mean, sure, right? But she could be studying it to try and fucking Fix it.